In the December month, the Corps Commanders Conference, in fact, approved the structure, as well as the assets as well, we have been given to understand. And we have been told, that this particular command will somewhere take care of the rockets, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles of Pakistani army. Now, why they are doing so? You must be remembering that even in India, we have, the integrated rocket force command structure being deliberated upon at certain levels. But right now, we don't have any sort of, specific rocket command either within army or at the tri-services level. But Pakistan, copying what the other countries, are doing, specifically in the case of China, where China has this particular command that keeps, the operational readiness of its missiles and, the rockets. This time around, Pakistan is also doing so, and it is after Operation Sindoor specifically. In Operation Sindoor, they of course, fired their Fatah rocket, and you must be remembering that near Sirsa in Haryana, that rocket was neutralized. And in fact, there were a number of rockets we have been given to understand that were fired. Now, these rockets were fired by either, the army itself, Pakistani army, or there were air launches as well. And all of these threats were neutralized at different levels by either the air defense of Indian Army or the air defense of Indian Air Force. On the other hand, now, after December, what we have been given to understand is that Asim Munir led this Corps Commander Conference, basically formalized the structure, and they have given a note. Remember, this particular command will be set up within, Pakistani army, and now they are putting in several sort of efforts. Now, why they are doing so, Griha, I'll just take 30 seconds more. Sure. Why they are doing so? It is also because of the fact that they know that, in the conflicts across the globe, long-range vector is something that has proven that the country that has got a variety of long-range weapons, has an edge. Be it Russia-Ukraine war or the Israel-Hamas conflict, we have seen. And in fact, during Operation Sindoor, we have seen that how Indian Army and Indian Air Force, utilize their platforms, utilize their long-range vectors, be it the artillery of Indian Army or, in fact, BrahMos that was launched from Su-30 MKI. So right now, long-range vector is something that Pakistan has been focusing on. And after the defeat in Operation Sindoor, they have been formalizing this rocket force command. This is what intel sources are telling us.
All right. Akash, we do know we are talking about long-range air defense and the missile systems that you have just mentioned. The drone sightings that happened along the line of control and the international border, any connection?
Right. So, Griha, you see, these tactics have become the old tactics now. In fact, I had a word with several officers of, the services, and they told us that, our counter-UAS system is very much in place, and this has become a routine practice. It is not limited to line of control only, but at the international border also on a daily basis almost. BSF is, in fact, seeing these drones, and in fact, these drones are being neutralized. Sometimes it is for the weapon dropping, sometimes it is for the, the narcotics and other things. This time around, day before yesterday, you rightly pointed out, some drones were sighted. In fact, in the Rajouri sector, in Nowshera specifically, these drones were sighted. Counter-UAS system, was put in place, and in fact, several sort of practices where the shotguns were in fact used. Fire was opened by the troops, alert troops of Indian Army, and in fact, we have been given to understand that after that, a search was in fact launched. But officers also confirmed that these drones returned back to Pakistan. So Pakistan has been trying these tactics, but this is one thing that Pakistan has been attempting. And on the other hand, we have our air defense, in fact, the entire grid, counter-UAS grid, that is taking care of these sort of threats that are coming from the other side of the boundary.
All right, so let's talk about India's air defense. The air defense, the Sudarshan Chakra that is in the works, and that pummeled also. We're also talking about the S-400 air defense system that pummeled Pakistan completely. And now we are looking at that Sudarshan Chakra, for that matter, a mission that has not just been announced by our defense minister, but also the Prime Minister of the country. We're talking about the S-400 Triumph that intercepted Pakistani missiles and drones. So this is what it does. It tracks 100 to 300 targets simultaneously up to 600 kilometers well across the international border and across the line of control. It engages in threats at ranges of 40 to 400 kilometers. That is the range that we are looking at. We also, in fact, would want to underline that this is an indigenous missile system. It has been grown in India, and this is something that India really boasts of, and this is the military heft of the country. effectively engaged in aerial threats. Remember, I was just talking about how there were certain missiles on the Pakistani side that had reached crossing the IB into the Indian territory, and that was ably intercepted by S-400. It underscores homegrown defense tech strides, the kind of strides that India has made when it is about indigenous homegrown air defense. This is something that India has added as far as that feather on its cap is concerned. It's used in precision strikes against terror infrastructure, and that is very, very important. We have seen where all do the troubled areas lie, which are very, very close to the international border or up there along the line of control, and that has been ably settled because of this air defense system. It is used to strike Bahawalpur and Muridke. Remember, the air bases in Pakistan that were struck hard, it was because of the S-400 air defense system, and that's something that had rattled Pakistan completely. It is equipped with Scalp cruise missiles. Another very, very important aspect that we'd like to underline for our viewers, and this is what the military heft of India really is. It is equipped with AASM hammer bombs as well. Akash will be explaining this better for us. It in fact struck deep into the territories of Pakistan and the terror infrastructure that was struck hard. All of this because of the S-400. Remember that entire in fact, address of the Indian Defence Minister with the S-400 in the background after the success of Operation Sindoor. Who can forget that? It has also ensured minimal collateral damage. Remember, the damage was on the Pakistani side, very, very minimal damage here on the Indian side. It's also Israeli-made munitions that this system has, and indigenous drones as well that are homegrown, that are made in India. It's for surveillance and also for targeted strikes. So not just looking at the threats, but also precision targeted strikes is something that it does. It has managed to neutralize enemy air defenses as well, and that possibly has also led to this decision by the Pakistani army, something that we're talking about as far as the Rocket Command Force is concerned. It has also gathered real-time intelligence. And remember, in warfare, this becomes absolutely important. You need to know what the enemy is actually looking at doing, and that intel becomes really, really critical. It has utilized Python 5 and also Darby missiles, and that's also something that we put out for our viewers. It's also provided short to medium range air defense. So we're talking about that range of 40 to 400 kilometers. It's also about that. It's also countered low-flying threats. So not just long ranges, but also low-flying threats have been ably countered because of this. It's also enhanced the multi-layered defense architecture. We're talking about a three-pronged air defense system, and that's something that Sudarshan Chakra is all about. Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey is now joining us on the broadcast. Lieutenant General Pandey, first of all, India's military heft, which is the S-400, the Sudarshan Chakra that the Prime Minister, the Defence Minister has been talking about. I just gave our viewers a lowdown of what all does it come equipped with, all of it homegrown. How does one see this? And in the face of the Sudarshan Chakra, we see this information that's coming in from Pakistan of they trying to develop a rocket command force.
So actually, virtually you have given out almost everything which is required to be in very comprehensive briefing. Compliments to you and your team. But let me just start giving certain degree of challenges. While on August 13, 2025, just after the lessons of Operation Sindoor started emerging to the Pakistanis, they announced the establishment of this new Army Rocket Force Command. And of course, now it's a process. It will take some time to be created and put in position. But let me just highlight a couple of things. The very systems which got defeated by India in Operation Sindoor were primed on Chinese system, right? They are again looking at the Chinese system to defend Pakistan. You can well imagine what is going to happen. And second is that lessons which they have learned of Operation Sindoor. I can only say very confidently that Indian defense forces are also watching, and therefore there are actions which will be taken to keep on keeping ahead of the curve to ensure the next round, whenever it takes place, these systems are defeated the way it was done this time. There are issues with it, right? There are two very, very basic issues when Army Rocket Force Command is being created by Pakistan. One very basic force is that they have got this SPD, their nuclear assets, right? Till now, the division between the conventional missile systems, which are being handled differently, and between the nuclear missiles, which are going to be there, that difference is going to be very difficult. And therefore, when the messaging which is being, when India is observing to distinguish which one is which, is going to be an issue. So therefore, this is one facet we have to watch. The second is economic implication. When you start looking at layered application of missiles, rocket forces coming under one centralized command of a country like Pakistan, the leverages go down to one person's hand, and that also becomes very difficult because these are supposed to be based on very extensive good communication network through which the intelligence are real time. That means observation, monitoring, reconnaissance of what is being launched against this thing, or where they have to launch their rocket force assets in India has to be taken care of. So this enmeshing of all these systems is not so easy even for a very, very modern country like America. Or, for example, you look at Israel, which is so well funded, has got a very limited land parcel to defend. Yet in Iran-Israel imbroglio, which happened very recently when Midnight Hammer or Lion Rise was launched by Israel, you saw that Iranians were able to overwhelm the Israeli systems, that layered defense system which they had, and they were able to breach and carry out targeting of certain critical areas. So it sounds very great on paper that they are raising Rocket Force Command, but it requires huge amount of investment, and particularly if you're going to buy it or take it totally off the shelf from the Chinese, you can well imagine the cost which is going to be going to affect the defense system. So rather than going and looking after their poor population, they are going to be spending a large amount of money to create this system to target India, which, of course, I'm very sure the way the Chinese stuff are, you just saw Venezuela, what happened there, the same condition will happen the second time. But coming on to our operational, onto the Sudarshan Chakra, which is, I think, it's a great recognition by the political leadership and the military leadership that today's warfare, when you are looking at Iran, you're looking at Ukraine, you look at in other areas, it is not limited to the conventional environment. And I think...
okay. All right. Yeah, we just lost you there for a bit, Jen Pandey. I'll come back to you on the Sudarshan Chakra bit in just a bit, because we also have Akash who's standing by. Akash, would want to understand this aspect from you, this China involvement that Jen Pandey was talking about. The fact that it's not just restricted to the strategic interests that China has in Pakistan as far as CPEC is concerned, it has gone beyond that with these military ties. But we had seen during Operation Sindoor how much of that really came in to help Pakistan. It was not of much help, and we'd seen how the Chinese made military, in fact, infra that Pakistan had did not really work against the Indian defense. What does one make of this fact that Pakistan is going to emulate China when it is about this rocket command force? How much of that is actually functional? Something, the point that Jen Pandey was also raising, if you can throw more light on that.
Right. So, Griha, you have, given me multiple aspects to talk on. I'll come to every bit of it, starting from what General Pandey said. General Pandey has explained that how, it is very difficult for a country like Pakistan, to, of course, they can create as many commands as they want. But then the maintenance part, the communication part, how they are going to carry it forward, how the structure would work, because we know that how this country, is being governed by just one individual, that is the army chief. Now, while they are trying to copy China or trying to copy the practices of China, this is one fact that they have been using more than 70% of the military hardware from China. Of course, this is one lesson that they have got from Operation Sindoor, given the fact that, they have realized that their nuclear threat won't work for, India. And also in future, if any sort of conflict happens once again, they are going to, in fact, face it once again. And they know it very well, the kind of capabilities that Indian armed forces have. Now, as far as, this particular command is concerned, so as I mentioned earlier, communication and maintenance are the two important issues and big issues that they'll have to deal with. But at the same time, they want to, use it for some sort of deterrence, or they have some sort of planning that, this particular command, whenever we are utilizing this particular command, like during Operation Sindoor, I remember when Fatah was fired, so everyone confused it with missile. However, Fatah is a rocket of Pakistan that was neutralized near Sirsa. Similarly, when it is about the use of ballistic missiles, so, these lines are never drawn, but there are several red lines, in any sort of conflict. And use of ballistic missile is one, that red line that a country crosses whenever they fire any ballistic missile. And that gives somewhere the idea or the, free hand to use the nuclear weapon from the other side as well. So there are several sort of red lines. And this is the reason why they are coming up with this particular structure. As far as China is concerned, so of course, China, we know that how they are helping them. Of course, they are giving their hardware to Pakistan to utilize. But there are several sort of challenges that Pakistan would be facing. And General Pandey was, in fact, mentioning about it. Just 30 seconds more, Griha, as far as the Sudarshan Chakra is concerned. So we know that how right now, starting from the point defense that is being dealt by the AD of Army to the Indian Air Force as well. We have a structure, we have a very good structure where coordination is happening from the command and control center of the Indian Air Force, where we have more than 12 nodes throughout the country. And then we have systems like Akash Tir that are very well integrated with the kind of systems we have, be it S-400 that is from Russia or some sort of indigenous system like Akash missile. All of these weapons, all of these systems are integrated to systems like Akash Tir and also the IAF nodes. And that is the reason why there is a coordination that is helping the forces. There is an integration that is helping the Indian Armed Forces. Of course, deliberation has been going for the integrated Rocket Force Command here in India as well, but we still don't know as to in which direction it will go. But right now, this is some one development that has happened from, in fact, in Pakistan. India is very much prepared as far as air defense is concerned, and we have seen it during Operation Sindoor as well.
Right. So, General Pandey, our impetus is on the air defense system and the Sudarshan Chakra that has been spoken about by the Prime Minister, by the Defense Minister. Why did India not think about a rocket command force if it's that strategic? The point that Akash has also mentioned.
Facets, Sudarshan Chakra is mostly a defensive measure, right? When you're looking at a rocket force command, it is an offensive measure. We have our nuclear arsenals under different control. We have our conventional rocket forces, missile forces, which are with us. And you saw them in action after all those areas which are airfields and the depth areas which are were struck by using our very various long-range systems which are applied. But please understand that okay, I'll just first talk about Sudarshan Chakra, right? As has been brought out very clearly that we already had a system to defend our airspace, right? It is now going to be scaled up because the government recognizes, the policymakers have recognized that high-value targets like civilian infrastructure are also going to be a target. If you just recall about a few days back, Russians carried out a major strike onto major power grid of Ukraine. So these are also required to be protected. It is not only that the civil industrial complexes, water storage areas, there are a large number of plethora of systems which are required to be protected. They can't be having one solution for each kind of a threat which will emanate from either from Pakistan or China. You require a system which carries out, which is AI-based, cyber empowered, enabled. So you are able to actually carry out targeting of each threat which emanates with an appropriate response system. So you can't launch a very high value, high cost counter system against a very low end drone which is incoming. So this kind of a matching requires an integration which already exists in our country, which has shown its hand and shown its proficiency and efficacy during Operation Sindoor. It just requires to be scaled up into a larger bandwidth covering the entire coastal regions, the depth areas.
And that's why that took precedence. But thank you so much for putting things into perspective, General Pandey. And thank you so much for joining us. We have to quickly shift our focus. We're getting some breaking news on the broadcast. We are learning that India has now launched BRICS logo 2026 in the presence of all the BRICS member countries.
Unveiling of the logo, theme and website for India's chairship of BRICS for 2026. As we have gathered today on the eve of Makar Sankranti, a festival known by the many names of also Lori, Mag Bihu, Pongal, and that celebrates the sun's celestial journey northwards, known as Uttarayan. I extend my warmest greetings to each one of you on this auspicious occasion. Just as these festivals convey hope and goodwill, India's BRICS chairship will seek to bring together the potential of BRICS countries for greater global welfare. Friends, when India prepares to assume the BRICS chairship in 2026, we do so at an important moment in the grouping's journey. In 2026, BRICS will complete 20 years since its inception, during which it has steadily evolved into a significant platform for cooperation among emerging markets and developing economies. Over the years, BRICS has expanded its agenda and membership, responding to changing global realities while remaining focused on people-centric development, fostering dialogue, and promoting practical cooperation.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar there launching that new logo. Remember, India has assumed the rotating presidency of BRICS as on January 1st this year. It will be hosting the 18th BRICS Summit later this year. My colleague Akanksha with all of those details. Akanksha, in that address by the External Affairs Minister, he's mentioned all the festivals, whether it is Makar Sankranti, Bihu, Pongal, Uttarayan for that matter, all of that was part of his address.
Absolutely, because remember, India has already played and showed its global prowess as being a host to G20, and that is exactly the model that will be followed by New Delhi this time around as it plays the host to BRICS in 2026. And as the EM also rightly highlighted, it's going to 20 years of the BRICS as a multilateral fora, and that in itself is extremely pivotal to India, given that India has always been that significant leading voice of the global south, and henceforth it will also be translating it into playing that connect between the G7 and the G20, Griha. We are speaking at a time when multilateralism is already in a state of coma. The US president has already exited several of the UN bodies, and so how the BRICS evolves now this time around, this when we are all reeling under the burden of tariffs unleashed by the US presidency, will be interesting to watch, because remember, it is the BRICS which is currently challenging the Western hegemony. It is also going to come up in terms of building on a framework where you can expect BRICS members to now deal in local currency, and that is something that's already been a threat to the US president, who has in fact attacked not just India, Russia, China, South Africa, all the leading members of the BRICS. But India, of course, will also be looking towards expanding the role of BRICS at the moment, as we had done at the time when we played host to the G20. It would be interesting to see how we take this expansion forward this time around when New Delhi will be playing host to BRICS. But the External Affairs Minister also talking about how it's important to in fact focus on multilateralism, and also for BRICS as a community to work together, especially when it comes to bringing the developing economies together. India has always looked after the interest of these developing economies and nations, whether it is in South Asia or even Africa. Griha.
Right, thank you so much for that, Akanksha. Akanksha was just mentioning about how this marks the first time India will be leading the expanded BRICS grouping. We're shifting our focus. We're getting some more breaking news on the broadcast, and this is coming in from the state of Tamil Nadu. In fact, before we go to that, we are continuing to get you more inputs. We were just talking about the expanded BRICS grouping, which India is going to be hosting next year, and that revolving presidency is being assumed by India as of today. This entire includes 10 full members now, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Indonesia, and the UAE. We're now giving you this next piece of information that's coming in from Tamil Nadu. There's a big hint that has been dropped by EPS, where he said that a new party will soon be joining AIADMK alliance after Pongal while interacting with his party members. What does it mean? Does this mean that TVK is officially joining that entire alliance with the AIADMK and the BJP? That's a big hint that's been dropped by EDP Palaniswamy. My colleague Mugilan is joining us with all of those details. Mugilan, is that the case? In fact, we're told that Purnima is with us on the broadcast. Mugilan will be there in just a bit. But Purnima, with that information, Purnima, a big hint there by EDP Palaniswamy, talking about how a new party will come into the folds of AIADMK. Does he mean TVK? Purnima, if you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Remember, the NDA front is trying to expand and get more smaller parties on board in the run-up to the 2026 State Assembly polls. And the BJP and the AIADMK and the ADMK are very clear that they need to bring in smaller parties. So the first party that they brought on board was the PMK headed by Andumani Ramdas. The senior Ramdas faction, they still haven't decided. And now, Edapadi Palaniswamy, yesterday, while they were interviewing candidates for the 2026 elections, sources from the AIADMK had in fact said that Edapadi had informed them that there will be another new party that's joined the NDA front, and that could happen after Pongal festival ends. So within the next 7 days, the AIADMK has in fact said that there will be another smaller party on board. So all eyes on whether the DMDK will come back and join the NDA front. DMDK founded by late Vijay Kant. So all eyes on that. But AIADMK and BJP are trying to have a grand alliance in the NDA fold for the 2026 State Assembly polls.
Wait, so what does it mean for politics in Tamil Nadu? What does it mean for DMK? Because DMK is already making these allegations of arm twisting exercise by the Bharatiya Janata Party to bring in a TVK as well. Now you're mentioning a smaller party like DMDK might just be coming into the AIADMK fold. What does it mean for the opposition alliance in Tamil Nadu?
Well, as you rightly said, there have been speculations of whether the TVK can join the AIADMK, BJP. However, TVK sources say that they would accept any party that would accept Vijay as a chief ministerial candidate, that would ensure that Vijay is the CM face of that particular front, and that TVK should spearhead the front. That looks unlikely as far as the AIADMK BJP alliance is concerned, because the BJP as well as Home Minister Amit Shah has time and again said that the NDA in Tamil Nadu will be led by Edapadi Palaniswamy, and hinted that Edapadi will be the CM face. The AIADMK will spearhead the NDA front in Tamil Nadu. So it looks unlikely for TVK to join the AIADMK BJP front. While speculations continue to do the rounds, and DMK questions the timing of CBI issuing summons to Vijay his movie Jananayagan not being released just yet, waiting for the census certificate. They allege that it's a pressure tactic by the BJP. However, at the moment, a smaller party could well be DMDK, is what we are given to understand. TVK at the moment may not join hands with the ADMK because they want Vijay to be the CM candidate, and that will not go down well with Edappadi Palaniswamy.
Right, the chief ministerial ambitions coming in the way of a prospective alliance. Let's see if at all that olive branch that has been extended by the Congress to TVK really works in the favor of DMK Congress alliance in the state. But right now, this is the big update that we're bringing to you. AIADMK really hinting at a big alliance for the AIADMK BJP combine in Tamil Nadu. Let's see which party are they talking about. We go into a very, very short break with that.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
In a big development, US President Donald Trump has warned that any country continuing commercial engagement with Iran will face direct economic consequences from Washington. Trump said the nations doing business with the Islamic Republic of Iran would be hit with a 25% tariff on all trade with the United States, effective immediately. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has warned that the United States to stop what he called deceitful actions and its reliance on traitorous allies. And that's the latest that we're getting for you right now. For more on this, we have Zakir Jacob live with us. Thank you so much. Good morning. Now, of course, given all these latest developments, we've seen how Trump has repeatedly weaponized tariffs. When it comes to Iran, how do you assess this?
Well, clearly, he's been presented with a range of options, including military options possibly. And you heard Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, yesterday saying that airstrikes are one of the many, many options that Trump has. So he's now chosen to go with the economic option. This might not hurt Iran so much because Iran is already sort of completely buried under with the impact of the sanctions, the American sanctions, the European sanctions, and of course the United Nations has imposed sanctions on Iran for its nuclear weapons program. So this might not impact Iran as much as it would impact some of the other countries, India being one of them, Turkey, China, of course, which is the largest importer of Iranian oil, some Middle Eastern countries, which also import from Iran. So some of these countries could be affected. As far as India is concerned, this would be particularly pinching because remember, India is already facing the brunt of 50% tariffs, 25% for importing Russian oil, and now this additional 25%, if it's imposed, then that would take it up to 75%. But then, having said that, India does not import as much Iranian oil. In fact, it's very negligible, the amount of Iranian oil that India imports, particularly in the last few years after the American and European sanctions. But India has deep stakes in Iran. Remember, the Chabahar port is an India-backed port. There's also the North-South Transit Corridor project that India has been working on because Pakistan does not give it overland rights. As a result, for India to reach to the Central Asian republics like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, etc., India has to use the Iranian route, and that was part of the International North-South Transit Corridor project, which has been pending for a number of years now. So India has a lot of stake in what is going on in Iran, including, of course, these latest protests. India is watching very closely. The MEA put out a statement a couple of days ago saying that.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Griha. The actor-turned-politician and TVK chief Vijay was questioned for nearly 7 hours by the Central Bureau of Investigation at its New Delhi headquarters. All of this in connection with the deadly Karur stampede case. Remember, this stampede claimed 41 lives. Now, in a fresh twist to this probe, Vijay reportedly denied his party's role, stating that TVK functionaries were not responsible and that the Tamil Nadu police failed to maintain law and order. He also claimed that he left the venue to prevent further chaos. Vijay's team reportedly submitted video evidence to support their claim. Meanwhile, the then ADGP and IG of Karur was also questioned by the CBI yesterday. Now, there's a response that's coming in from the DMK, which has reacted to Vijay's allegation, saying that Vijay came 8 to 9 hours late at the venue and that is why the stampede occurred. How can police be blamed in this case is what the version is coming in from DMK. Remember, the state police is under the DMK administration that governs Tamil Nadu, and DMK has also further gone on to claim that maybe the police should have dispersed the crowd when there was such a delay by Vijay. That was what the police could have done as per the DMK. Let's take a look at the reactions coming in.
Vijay sources tell us that Vijay has blamed the Tamil Nadu police for not maintaining law and order, which led to the Karur stampede. How do you see this?
He made the people wait for 10 hours in the scorching sun without water and food. What can the police do? The police should have done one thing. If I am the police officer, I should have asked the policeman to disperse the crowd. And this man is coming at 7:30 without any reason. People had fainted and fallen. Nobody, his own partymen did not take care of those people who had fallen down. They were not saved. That is Vijay's fans. They don't want to save their own men who had fallen, fainted and fallen down. You see, Vijay is not directly involved. But this has happened only because Vijay's delay in coming there at 12 o'clock. So how can, from 8 o'clock in the morning to 7:30 in the evening, people were waiting without water and food and the scorching sun. Until 5:30, sun will be there.
Let me take this across to my colleague Poonima Mudli, who continues to be with us on the broadcast. Poonima, big claim that has been made by TVK, by Vijay, but he's always been maintaining the stance that his party, his functionaries were not responsible for the stampede that unfortunately occurred in Karur. And now this is the version that's coming in from the DMK. So it's a head-on fight between the DMK and the TVK now.
Absolutely, head-on fight between the TVK and the DMK. The blame game over the Karur tragedy continues to escalate. DMK as well as its allies are of the view that Vijay came late. He was supposed to come to the venue by 12. He came only after 7:30. It was very hot that day in Karur on the 27th of September. There was no food, water distributed for the crowds. People started coming in as early as 8 a.m. They waited till 7 and therefore Vijay's delay in coming there is the main reason why the Karur stampede broke out. Plus they did not organize it well. Proper arrangements, basic amenities were not taken care of by the TVK is the statement that's coming in from the DMK, that's coming in from the Karur district administration. However, TVK in response to those statements time and again reiterate that there weren't enough police security. The venue was given, it was a narrow lane, there was a ditch in that place, and all these were responsible and they also allege there's conspiracy. So we'll have to wait and see whether CBI is able to put together the sequence of events that led to the Karur stampede, both of them giving their side of the version. Whether CBI will be able to get evidence of these claims and counterclaims, we'll have to wait and see.
When will the state representatives be questioned by the CBI, Poonima?
Well, Karur district administration were called in the last week of December. Even yesterday, the then ADGP Law and Order, Mr. Davidson, also appeared before the CBI. So both sides are called whenever CBI is issuing summons to TVK. They are also issuing summons to the Karur district administration. But both of them have been questioned separately. Whether there will be interrogation simultaneously in the coming days, we'll have to wait and see.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Poonima. With that, let's take a look at some more reactions that are coming in on this big story that is concerning Vijay and his party, the TVK.
See, that question you have to ask Mr. Vijay, whether he is targeted or not. The question is whether a fair procedure is being followed or not. This is not fair procedure. And our leader, the Chief Minister, Mr. M.K. Stalin, has pointed out how, like the troika of CBI, ED and the Income Tax Department, CBFC is also been weaponized by the BJP to target political opponents.
Initially, state has ordered some investigation, correct? Suppose if Vijay is appearing that case, shall we conclude that the state government is putting pressure on Vijay? It is completely an independent agency. And this case has been transferred by the Supreme Court. When that is being so, It is natural process, legal process, that any person who is involved in the incident has to be investigated. Okay, so now the DMK are imagining that whatever is happening, they are thinking that it is because of BJP.
Everyone is same in the eyes of law. So let Mr. Vijay finish the inquiry, and we hope the truth will emerge whether Karur stampede is a planned conspiracy as alleged, or there is something more to it. Everyone are anxiously waiting for the outcome. So we hope the outcome will be released soon.
With that, we are shifting our focus. Let's talk about Mumbai as the campaigning for the high-stakes BMC elections comes to an end. Both the Mahayuti and the Mahavikas Aghadi are making a final push to woo Mumbai's voters. In an exclusive interview with CNN News 18, Shiv Sena UBT chief Uddhav Thackeray pushed back against the politics of Hindutva, asking who is creating this issue in the first place. Uddhav said that Bharatiya Janata Party and the Shinde-led Shiv Sena have no real civic issues to raise, and they are using the ideology to distract the voters, while his party is focused only on the work done for Mumbai. He's also said that election should be about air quality, development, jobs and housing, and not on manufactured controversies.
फिलहाल हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं उद्धव ठाकरे जी। उद्धव ठाकरे जी, मैं सीधे सवाल आपसे करूंगा क्योंकि आप जाने जाते हैं हमेशा सीधे जवाब देने के लिए। इस महानगर पालिका के इलेक्शन में हमने देखा है कि आप मराठी का मुद्दा उठा रहे हैं। राज ठाकरे मराठी के बारे में
मराठी का मुद्दा नहीं उठा रहे, हम मुंबई की समस्याओं का मुद्दा उठा रहे। मुद्दा छेड़ा किसने पहले बताओ?
बिल्कुल,
किसने शुरुआत की? ये बीजेपी ने शुरुआत की। हम तो हमेशा कहते हैं कि मुद्दों पर बात करें, और मैंने कल भी चुनौती दी है, आज भी दे रहा हूं, कल भी दूंगा। मुझे एक चुनाव ऐसी दिखाओ जहां मोदी जी से लेकर जो गली का भाजपा वाला है उसने किसी भी चुनाव में हिंदू मुस्लिम किए बिना चुनाव लड़ा है। एक चुनाव ऐसे, वो चाहे स्कूल के मॉनिटर का भी ना हो, वो हिंदू मुस्लिम क्यों लाते उसमें?
यही मेरा सवाल है उद्धव जी कि
नहीं, मैं तो कहता हूं जो हमने काम किए हैं पूरे होर्डिंग्स पे लगाए, और हम अभिमान के साथ कहते हैं कि होय है आमी केलं, वैसे उन्होंने क्या किया है।
लेकिन फिर भी बार बार आपकी पार्टी के ऊपर सवाल उठाया जाता है कि इन्होंने हिंदुत्व छोड़ा, क्योंकि
हमसे तो डर है उनको। मैंने क्या हिंदुत्व छोड़ा मतलब क्या किया? मैंने कुछ गलतियां जरूर की। मैं मोहन भागवत जी के साथ मस्जिद में नहीं गया था, मैं नवाज शरीफ का केक खाने के लिए मोदी जी के साथ नहीं गया था, ना ही मैं पहलगाम हमले के बाद, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर होने के बाद जो क्रिकेट मैच खेली गई दुबई में, वो देखने के लिए जय शाह के साथ दुबई नहीं गया था। सौगातें मोदी बांटते वक्त में उनके साथ नहीं था, या ईद का भोजन खाने के लिए जब वो अपने मुस्लिम पड़ोसियों के घर से ईद का भोजन आता था वो खाने के लिए मैं मोदी जी के साथ नहीं था। ये मेरी गलती थी।
लेकिन आपका जो मराठी का मुद्दा उठा रहे, क्या आपको लगता है इस पूरे में आपका विकास का मराठी का मुद्दा पीछे बार बार खींचा जा रहा है, या उसको अटेम्प्ट किया जा रहा है, उसे पीछे ढकेलने का अटेम्प्ट?
कोशिश तो वही है, लेकिन नाकामयाब रहेंगे वो। और वो इसलिए देवेंद्र फडणवीस मुंबई को नहीं जानते, और मुंबई फडणवीस को अलग तरीके से कहूँ तो अच्छी तरीके से जानती है। उनकी कपट नीति को पहचानती है। वो जो हमने काम किया कोविड के दरमियान, उस वक्त
सबने देखा, WHO ने उसको रिकमेंड किया है।
तो उस वक्त देवेंद्र फडणवीस कहाँ थे? जब हम उस वक्त धारावी बचा रहे थे तो अडानी कहाँ थे? धारावी में थे क्या? धारावी अगर उसमें कुछ हादसा हो जाता तो उनके लिए तो ठीक हो जाता, क्योंकि धारावी खाली हो जाती ना, हमने नहीं होने दिया।
लेकिन उद्धव जी, दूसरा सवाल मुझे आपसे ये है कि आपके भाषणों में हमने देखा है, राज ठाकरे जी ने भी ये बार बार कह रहे कि मुंबई को तोड़ने का एक अटेम्प्ट किया,
कब्जा करने की। तोड़ना मतलब
महाराष्ट्र से अलग करने की?
नहीं, महाराष्ट्र से मतलब वो कोई जमीन का टुकड़ा लेकर गुजरात नहीं लेके जाएंगे। गुजरात का कब्जा जिस तरीके से कल राज ने दिखाया ना आपको, सब कुछ अडानी, सब कुछ अडानी, और करप्शन तो खुलेआम करप्शन चल रहा है। 3 लाख करोड़ का घोटाला पिछले 4 साल में किया है। एक मुझे याद है कुछ साल पहले वो एक पेन की एडवर्टाइजमेंट आती थी, सब कुछ दिखता है
जी,
वैसे उनका चार्ज चल रहा है, सब कुछ दिख रहा है, तो भी इनको शर्म नहीं आ रही।
लेकिन फिर भी आरोप आपके ऊपर लग रहा है कि आपने पैसे बचाए, और वो पैसे बचाने के लिए नहीं होते, पैसे रेवेन्यू जनरेट करने के लिए होते।
पैसे बचाना गुनाह है कि पैसे चुराना गुनाह है? ये इन्होंने पैसा चुराया है। मैंने तो 92,000 करोड़ रुपए तक FD लेके मतलब रखकर दिखाई थी, इन्होंने 70,000 करोड़ तक लाई, और उसके सामने 3 लाख करोड़ रुपए का देना, इन्होंने वर्क ऑर्डर्स दे दिए। एडवांस मोबिलाइजेशन के लिए पैसा दे दिया और उसे किक बैक ली। इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ 3 लाख करोड़ का घोटाला है। इतना ही नहीं, जो जहां आपने देखा होगा कि 90% मुंबई खोद के रखी है,
बिल्कुल,
जहां जरूरी नहीं वहां भी सीमेंट के रोड बनाए। क्यों? क्योंकि ये जो सीमेंट है वो 60 से 70% अदानी सीमेंट फैक्ट्री से आ रहा है।
और गड्ढों की अगर बात करें, बार बार ये कहते हैं हम पॉटहोल फ्री रास्ते देंगे, पॉटहोल फ्री, लेकिन आपके साथ सत्ता में भी तो थे इतने साल,
थे ना,
तो तब क्यों नहीं पॉटहोल फ्री रास्ते हुए? क्योंकि हमने देखा था कि बहुत से अटेम्प्ट बीएमसी की तरफ से किए गए।
उस वक्त देखो, विकास के खिलाफ हम नहीं है, लेकिन नियोजन शून्य विकास मतलब विनाश जो आज हम देख रहे हैं, हर एक को खांसी हो रही है।
बिल्कुल, एक ही
मैं भी आपके साथ बात करते हुए बीच में खांस रहा हूं।
आपके बैंड्रा की AQI बहुत नीचे जाती है।
बहुत ही। तो ये किसने बिगाड़ा? पूरी मिट्टी और सीमेंट है, और जितनी गंदगी या पोल्यूशन कोई सिगरेट स्मोकिंग के बाद उसके लंग्स में नहीं जाती, उतनी पूरी पोल्यूशन, ये सारी जो कचरा है वो सांस लेते वक्त जाती है। तो अब मुंबई में बोर्ड लगने चाहिए कि सांस लेना आरोग्य के लिए हानिकारक है,
या वापस से मास्क एक बार वापस लगा देंगे।
नहीं तो भी सांस लेना तो जरूरी है ना।
उद्धव जी, लोकसभा में हमने देखा कि आपके पक्ष ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, महाविकास आघाड़ी को अच्छे नंबर है, विधानसभा में वो नहीं आए। लोकसभा विधानसभा से क्या सीख ली है और इस बार का आपकी स्ट्रेटेजी में क्या बदलाव किए गए हैं?
पहली बात तो यह है कि क्या सचमुच ये विधानसभा के चुनाव वो जीते हैं क्या? हमने तो वोट चोरी पकड़ के दी। अब वोट चोरी पकड़ी तो ईवीएम में उन्होंने वीवीपैट मशीन ही निकाल दिया। अब इसके बाद उन्होंने डरा धमका कर जो अपने प्रत्याशी विरोधी उसको पीछे लेने के लिए मजबूर कर रहे। हाँ, मुंबई में कुलाबा में राहुल नार्वेकर जाकर डरा धमका रहा है, तो उसको तो इमीडिएट सस्पेंड करना चाहिए। नार्वेकर को गलत इस्तेमाल कर रहा है उसके चेयर का।
बार बार ये सवाल पूछा जाता था कि उद्धव ठाकरे, राज ठाकरे एक साथ कब आएंगे। अब सवाल उल्टा पूछा जा रहा है एक साथ आने के बाद कि कितने साल तक ये रहेगी, एजेंडा बीएमसी के बाद क्या होगा?
ये बेकार पूछने, जिनको कुछ दिमाग नहीं ऐसे लोग वही सवाल पूछते हैं। मुझे नहीं लगता कोई दिमाग वाला आदमी ऐसा सवाल पूछता है।
मन से हो या आप हो, बार बार कहते कि मुंबई से मराठी मानुस जो है वो उपनगरों में गया, उपनगरों से आगे गया। जब हमने आदित्य से बात की थी, उन्होंने कहा था कि हमें मराठी मानुस को वापस लाना है जो हम मुंबई से बिछड़ गया। क्या प्लान है बीएमसी को लेकर? या
बीएमसी को लेकर जैसे हमने कहा ना, हमारा जो वचननामा है उसमें हमने लिखा है स्पष्ट रूप में शब्दों में कि मुंबई की जमीन मुंबईकरों के लिए हम इस्तेमाल करेंगे, अदानी के लिए नहीं। जिस तरीके से अदानी ने धारावी TDR, क्या कैलकुलेशन है TDR का, फिर वहाँ के लोग वो डालेंगे देवनार डंपिंग पर जहाँ कचरा है, फिर मुलुंड, हाँ, सॉल्ट पैन, कुर्ला मदर डेयरी, दहीसर, हाँ, ये वांद्रा रेक्लेमेशन, तो वो वहाँ तो टावर बनाएंगे। वहाँ क्यों नहीं धारावी के लोगों को शिफ्ट करता है वांद्रा रेक्लेमेशन? तो वहाँ करो ना शिफ्ट धारावी के लोगों को। वांद्रा रेक्लेमेशन अच्छी जगह है, तो इनको डालेंगे कचर पट्टी में, और वहाँ जो आएंगे लोग वो कौन रहेंगे? तो मुंबई की ज़मीन है, वहाँ मुंबई साफ सफाई करने वाले मजदूर है, मुंबई की रक्षा करने वाले पुलिस है, मंत्रालय में जाकर कारोबार संभालने वाले हमारे गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट है, बहुत सारे मराठी लोग हैं, उनको हम घर दे देंगे।
उद्धव जी, आखिरी सवाल आपसे पूछूंगा। मेयर को लेके एक बड़ी कंट्रोवर्सी हो रही थी, जहां पे आपके विरोधी पक्ष है वो कह रहे हैं कि
मुझे ताज्जुब हो गया कि देवेंद्र फडणवीस हिंदू नहीं है। मुझे पता चला अभी, क्योंकि हम कहते मराठी होगा तो बोलते हिंदू होगा।
तो फर्क क्या है मराठी और हिंदू में? क्या
यही तो है ना कि मैं कहता हूं मैं मराठी हूं, मराठी बोलने वाला हिंदू हूं, देशभक्त हिंदू हूं, लेकिन देवेंद्र फडणवीस मराठी बोलने के बावजूद हिंदू नहीं है। मुझे पहली बार समझा, क्योंकि वो फर्क कर रहे हैं। मैं कहता हूं मराठी महापौर होगा, तो बाला साहब ठाकरे एकमेव हिंदू हृदय सम्राट,
बिल्कुल, और वो भी मानते हैं। वो
नहीं, ना ही उनके पहले ना उनके बाद में कोई हिंदू हृदय सम्राट बना नहीं, ना बनेगा। तो वो तो मराठी थे ना
जी।
मोदी को बचाने वाले बाला साहब ही थे ना हिंदू हृदय सम्राट, और वो मराठी थे। लेकिन देवेंद्र फडणवीस हिंदू नहीं है, मुझे आश्चर्य की बात हुई।
लेकिन मैं बार बार उनके पक्ष के यहाँ से ऐसा क्यों आ रहा है कि अगर आपको चुन के देंगे फिर से एक बार, तो मुंबई का मेयर मराठी नहीं होगा, हिंदू नहीं होगा, मुस्लिम मेयर होगा?
नहीं, क्योंकि जैसे मैंने कहा ना, उनके पास दिखाने के लिए ना ही मुंह है ना ही काम है। क्या उनको दूसरे के बाप की चोरी करनी पड़ती है? काम क्या दिखाएंगे वो?
सर, क्या वो डरते हैं कि जो कंसोलिडेशन मुस्लिम वोट्स का लोकसभा में हुआ या विधानसभा में,
मैं कहता हूँ म्युनिसिपैलिटी की इलेक्शन है, मुद्दों पर बात करें। स्कूल कैसे हमने सुधार किए, स्कूलों में सुधार किया, कोस्टल रोड किया, पानी की समस्या है, कचरे की समस्या है, BST सर्विस है, हॉस्पिटल की बात करें, कोविड के समय कैसे काम किया, इस पर बात करें।
आखिरी सवाल आपसे यही करूंगा, कैसे अपील करेंगे मुंबईकरों को कि शिवसेना UBT के लिए आप वोट दे? आप मुद्दे तो बता रहे, लेकिन एक ऐसा कौन सा मुद्दा आप उनके सामने रखें?
आपको कैसे जीना है, जीवन जीना है, खुली हवा में सांस लेनी है कि पोल्यूटेड एयर?
थैंक यू सर।
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
In a big development, US President Donald Trump has warned that any country continuing commercial engagement with Iran will face direct economic consequences from Washington. Trump said that nations doing business with the Islamic Republic of Iran would be hit with a 25% tariff on all trade with the United States, effective immediately. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has warned that the United States to stop what he called deceitful actions and its reliance on traitorous allies. And that's the latest that we're getting for you right now. For more on this, we have Zakir Jacob live with us. Thank you so much. Good morning. Now, of course, given all these latest developments, we've seen how Trump has repeatedly weaponized tariffs. When it comes to Iran, how do you assess this?
Well, clearly, he's been presented with a range of options, including military options possibly. And you heard Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, yesterday saying that airstrikes are one of the many, many options that Trump has. So he's now chosen to go with the economic option. This might not hurt Iran so much because Iran is already sort of completely buried under with the impact of the sanctions, the American sanctions, the European sanctions, and of course the United Nations has imposed sanctions on Iran for its nuclear weapons program. So this might not impact Iran as much as it would impact some of the other countries, India being one of them, Turkey, China, of course, which is the largest importer of Iranian oil, some Middle Eastern countries, which also import from Iran. So some of these countries could be affected. As far as India is concerned, this would be particularly pinching because remember, India is already facing the brunt of 50% tariffs, 25% for importing Russian oil, and now this additional 25%, if it's imposed, then that would take it up to 75%. But then, having said that, India does not import as much Iranian oil. In fact, it's very negligible, the amount of Iranian oil that India imports, particularly in the last few years after the American and European sanctions. But India has deep stakes in Iran. Remember, the Chabahar port is an India-backed port. There's also the North-South Transit Corridor project that India has been working on because Pakistan does not give it overland rights. As a result, for India to reach to the Central Asian republics like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, etc., India has to use the Iranian route, and that was part of the International North-South Transit Corridor project, which has been, pending for a number of years now. So India has a lot of stake in what is going on in Iran, including, of course, these latest protests. India is watching very closely. The MEA put out a statement a couple of days ago saying that they're watching very carefully the developments in Iran. But once again, I think Trump, instead of choosing the military option, at least up until now, until this hour, instead of choosing the military option, he has decided to go with the economic option. One possible reason also being the fear that if he were to indulge in airstrikes like we saw back in June, when three of the major nuclear sites of Iran were hit, this could potentially this time around galvanize the regime, the Ayatollah regime. The people could sort of galvanize around that regime because an external actor like the United States has attacked it. So that's one of the factors that's stopping him from undertaking a military or authorizing a military strike against Iran as of now.
All right, Zakir, thank you so much for joining us with your insights on. Hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Hem Korsara, and here's a quick look at what we're tracking for you at this hour. Let's get started. Communist Party of China delegation meets BJP leaders in the party headquarters. First engagement since the 2020 Galwan clash. Congress asks what secret agreement was made here. Amid ongoing rift between the DMK and Congress in the state, now Congress demands ban on Parashakti movie over alleged distortion of history. TVK Chief Vijay questioned by the CBI for over 7 hours over the Karur stampede, denies party responsibility and blames Tamil Nadu police for law and order failures. After his envoy strikes reconciliatory tone with India, now Trump threatens 25% tariffs on countries doing business with Iran, India to feel the shock. India launches BRICS logo 2026 in presence of all BRICS member countries. Another Hindu beaten to death in Bangladesh in the latest attacks on minorities in the country. Sheikh Hasina, in an exclusive conversation with CNN News 18, says extremists are enjoying impunity under the Yunus government. Telangana Chief Minister Revant Reddy moves auto debit of vehicle owners' bank accounts for traffic fines. Proposal sparks big debate. Yash's toxic lands in trouble. Karnataka Women's Commission seeks censor board action over obscene scene, says it degrades women's dignity. Man brags about SUV's benefits while driving on the wrong side of the road. Video sparks massive outrage. After Trump declares himself acting president of Venezuela, Greenland stands up to Trump, says will not accept a US takeover under any circumstance and demands NATO intervention. Lucknow's King George's Medical University conversion case is now exploding with new links which have emerged. The Uttar Pradesh police have expanded their investigation into the KGMU rape case, bringing junior doctors and administrative staff under scrutiny. The state's special task force has taken over the probe. Police sources say the activities of King George's Medical University, Lucknow, are being examined as a love jihad style factory where vulnerable women were allegedly targeted through deception, emotional manipulation and prolonged engagement. The investigation now also focuses on the accused Dr. Ramizuddin's family. His father, Salimuddin Nayak, is alleged to have close links with the banned Popular Front of India and was reportedly honoured twice by the group. Police are examining all of these claims through witness statements, digital records and other intelligence inputs. Let me first explain to you what the case is and what the charges are against the accused, Ramiz Malik, accused of a relationship on false marriage promise. So this is the first charge that we're looking at here on false marriage promise. Accused of concealing his existing marital status. So there is the charge of false promise of marriage and also concealing the existing marital status, and also allegedly pressure junior doctor to convert to Islam, and on her refusal to convert, reportedly harassed the victim. The victim was forced to undergo abortion without consent, allegedly threatened to circulate private pictures and videos. Accused parents are involved in facilitating the conversion, we're given to understand. So this is where things stand right now. So we're looking at what I said earlier, a love jihad style factory. So these are all of the various charges that have been brought on against Ramiz Malik. First, that he, of course, was in a relationship without really revealing the existing marital status. For more on this, we have Vikram Singh with us, former DGP UP. Now, if you could just tell us what this entire case is. These are the various charges that we've been given to understand have been brought on against Ramiz Malik. What can you tell us?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me over in your show. This is much deeper than love jihad. Love jihad is just the surface. You can see the link with the PFI, as you had very rightly mentioned, that Ramiz and his father was honored twice by the PFI, and then Ramiz approached the PFI for legal assistance. And the insidious matter is that he is very close to Dr. Parvez, the real brother of Dr. Shahina, involved in the Al-Falah blast. And who is Dr. Shahina? Dr. Shahina happens to be the president of the JEM, Jamaat-ul Mominat, the women's group that was created after Operation Sindoor by what? Jaish-e-Mohammed, who got a beating after the Operation Sindoor, and out of spite and out of vendetta, they wanted something very serious and sinister to happen in India, and they wanted this kind of an incident. Now you see the nexus: Jaish-e-Mohammed, Jamaat-ul-Mominat, Dr. Shahina, Dr. Parvez, and then here you have Ramizuddin. It seems to be a scoundrels gallery, and everybody related to Jaish-e-Mohammed of Pakistan. It is much, much deeper than love jihad, and therefore I would have been very happy if this investigation, because I have been with the STF UP for 5 years, very professional, but the national and international ramifications would be justified only if the investigation is handled by NIA, because you have the PFI, again, an anti-national organization banned. Then you have the Jaish-e-Mohammed. Then you have Dr. Shahina, known for launching the bomb blasts, suicide bombers, and also biological warfare. Therefore, it will be in the fitness of things that this investigation is entrusted to the NIA.
All right, thank you so much. You've raised some very pertinent things there. Now, for more on this, we also have Anand Narasimhan joining live on the broadcast. Thank you so much, Anand. Now, as Sir said here, that this is much deeper than just this love jihad style factory. There are links to JEM, Jamaat-ul-Mominat, and of course, Dr. Shaina as well in the Al-Falah case that we're talking about. And also, there could be concerns of biological warfare. What's your assessment?
Well, good afternoon, Haim, and I'm going to request the former DGP Uttar Pradesh, Vikram Singh ji, to just stay on with us even as we try and shed light on the various angles here. One aspect is, and sometimes we hope our viewer memory is not fickle and they do realize that this entire modus operandi is a set format. This is a set format which is not just practiced in other parts of Bharat, including Kerala, where the likes or affiliated organizations, formerly affiliated organizations with the PFI were under the radar for conducting what the UK now terms as grooming gangs. Gangs that not only groom women, what the Kerala Christian Forum came out and first termed as love jihad. The Kerala High Court used that terminology while passing its orders and observations, the term of love jihad. The Kerala Christian Forum and also the Christian fraternity there also termed the issue of narco jihad, wherein drugs were being used to lure gullible women or impressionable young women, and then they were being caught in a web or trapped in a web of videos that have been taken, videos that would be circulated on social media, so the threat of social shame, and then of sexual assaults, multiple sexual assaults being conducted, then them being filmed, and then use of drugs and also perhaps other methods of coercion to slowly over a period of time convert the person. The other aspect is to try and snare them in love traps or honey traps, and then use their videos and objectionable pictures, etc., and with a threat to push them on social media, and then run this conversion racket. So this is a modus operandi which has existed in the past. It is now manifest in the KGMU case. What's subject to investigation is A, whether this was just an individual who was operating like this, or is this a network? Is this a loosely organized network which can claim to be working in silos, but somewhere it is all connected? The other part is, where is the DNA for it, the DNA connection to it? Does this link to the PFI? The PFI in the past has also been quietly, subtly behind the scenes, been providing legal help. It's a banned outfit, but its members still remain in society. They still float below the radar. Are they operating in stealth? Are they coming there as concerned citizens who are just offering legal help because legal help or legal use of the legal option is a fundamental right? So on the garb of providing what is accorded by a basic constitution, that you have the right to legal help, legal aid, and also using legal measures to your advantage, are these members of PFI proliferating? Are the methods of the PFI still proliferating in terms of trying to push forward what their chronicled agenda has been unearthed by sleuths in the past, of turning Bharat into a totally Islamic state by 2047? And do they continue to operate way beyond the borders of Kerala across various parts of the country? The other thing, Vikram Singh ji is with us and he can weigh in on, is that even in the case of Changur Baba, his presence and his web was seen across more than 500 cities in our country. And those numbers of people who were associated ran into thousands. Also, other individuals who were connected with that link were seen having details of more than 30 to 40 women whom they had already ensnared or planned to ensnare, and they were all spread across various districts and various localities. So this seems to be that this cannot be inorganic. There has to be a certain level of organic curation of this entire modus, Vikram Singh ji. And would you want to look at this? Although the authorities so far, they say the UPSTF should take over, but there is no confirmation that there is a direct link with the Al-Falah module. There is no confirmation, despite reports in newspapers and other media. We would like to refrain from that at the moment because there's no official confirmation that CNN News 18 has got yet. But Vikram Singh ji, how would you want to look at this? You said that the NIA should continue to or take over this matter. But before that, should the UPSTF get down and see if these instances link with each other? Are they interlinked somewhere?
Yes. Anandji, namaskar. You know much more than what I would do, but I would say I have no such compulsion as to restrain myself because my experience says that they are so closely intertwined that one thing interpenetrates each other. It is difficult to distinguish one from the other. We come back to this module, as you say, Ramizuddin and Dr. Ramizuddin is connected to Dr. Parvez. Dr. Parvez is the real brother of Dr. Shahina, and it will be foolhardy not to presume that the Al-Falah module was not linked to it, because Dr. Shahina happens to be, you know what, the head of the Momina Jamaat, and Momina Jamaat is connected to Jaish-e-Mohammed. So these things are so closely intertwined, like one peel of the onion. You peel the first, the second comes out. Then the connection with the PFI, the mother of all things insidious. You may recall that the PFI had raised 120 crores during the Shaheen Bagh agitation. That's a lot of money. Changur Baba, I would say just Changur. That an illiterate ring and trinket peddler on the roadside having something like a bank balance of 500 crores. These 500 crores did not drain from her. I'm given to understand that Qatar donated $18 billion to Muslim Brotherhood. And that Muslim Brotherhood, something, they found its way to these insidious and anti-national and illegitimate conversions under the guise of love jihad. Therefore, these things are closely intertwined. And because there is no explanation how PFI could get 120 crores then, Changur gets 500 crores, and a bill, it is something like a lottery ticket. Every love jihad is a lottery ticket.
Yes.
One love jihad, 25 lakhs, you do nothing because it's a full-time activity. Dr. Ramizuddin was actually ensnaring 15 women and all lady doctors. For what purpose? Biological and chemical warfare. That is what the large roadmap of the Jaish-e-Mohammed was, and that is why they were in a fast-forward mode.
Well, you can draw these parallels and you can connect these dots as an expert and with someone with the wealth of experience that you have, but you also appreciate that as the former UP DGP, how difficult it is to put this into proof. Yes, one can be linked with the other, and on the face of it, we know it is linked, but unless there is a proof, and it can be proven in a court of law, one can't very openly state this, and that's the challenge for the UPSTF. There are more dynamics to this, and we've got more news coming through. Over to you, Hem. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So here's the latest that we're learning as well. CNN News 18 exclusive that I'm bringing for you. The KGMU investigation faces major challenges. As per top police sources, we're getting this information through our top intel sources. Authorities are treating the case as one involving a single criminal mind, but tracing facilitators is proving difficult due to deleted digital data, which only the police can access. Investigators are also facing resistance because the accused did not cooperate during custody. Officials allege he was coached by legal advisors to give selective answers and avoid naming contacts, making the probe all the more complex. Anand, let me just come back to you on that. This seems to be hardly an aberration, doesn't it?
True, and there is so much more information that is currently out that he may be operating solo right now, but are there other people linked to him? Are there entities? Now, see, circumstantial evidence leads to some of the points that Vikram Singh ji has raised. The fact is that the accused father, Salimuddin Nayak, has close links with the PFI. He was actually honored twice by this banned entity. Then the brother of Dr. Shahina is also closely linked here. So can there not be a broader link to a bigger network? And somewhere these entities, remain connected but yet cannot be proven to be connected. This is how they work within the system and use the system to subvert the system. And the authorities are now looking at the fact, and according to the cops, his father is from Thakurganj area of Lucknow and a long-time participant in conversion racket. So this actually is a generational thing, that something for which they have committed themselves to, and irrespective of where they are. So this is another one where he said biological and chemical, both kind of warfare, somewhere to try and ensnare, trap women, get them to convert, get them to reproduce, and then leave their progeny and move on to the next target. But all of them are now claimedly, as far as they would claim, that we have converted so many and brought so many into our fold. Vikram Singh ji, please correct me if I'm wrong. So this is the larger dictum, the fact of tabligh. And this is, and use whatever methods for this tabligh. We'll come back to this story. The army chief is briefing.
The next phase involves developing new systems and finally culminating in network-enabled multi-domain operations. Advanced CW system, BrahMos extended range, Pinaka ELGR system, Pralay missiles, QR-SAM with extended range, Lotte munitions, drones, UCAVs are some game-changing equipment in the pipeline. As for the emergency procurement 1 to 6 are concerned, they have sharply reduced acquisition timelines and created opportunities for Indian industries. The funding has increased substantially, especially for EP6. For the first time, even the corps commanders have been empowered with emergency procurement powers. The modernization of logistics has included induction of logistic drones and robotic mules in large numbers. Now, this induction is not enough. This time in the central sector itself, approximately 10 tons have been ferried by these logistic drones. Our army-based workshop, which played a key role during Operation Sindoor, have been reoriented from being repair facilities to research and development come production-oriented hubs. Atmanirbharta in ammunition, we are proud to say that 159 out of 175 ammunition categories Indian Army holds have been fully indigenized, that is over 90%. Technology infusion. As my predecessor, General Manoj Pandey, had emphasized, technology infusion is central to addressing future security challenges. And based on that, the year of 24 and 25 were also declared as the year of technology absorption. We have aligned ourselves with all major national technology missions, including 6G, and the National Quantum Mission. A dedicated quantum lab has been established in MCT Mau. In August 25, we launched the Agni Shodh initiative with IIT Madras to harmonize research and development pathways tailored to our operational needs. AI incubation cell is working well at Bangalore in Bell premises. We have introduced India's first sovereign agentic AI in box, a major step towards national vision of self-reliant, battlefield-ready AI. In November 25, under the MOD initiative of Aditi, Raksha Mantri ji launched Indian Army's next-generation unified AI platform, Ekam AI, as a secure mission-grade AI as a service ecosystem. We will now upgrade fine-tuned LLM to sovereign LLM for the same. That will remove all the biases which generally creep into the system. It will help us in effective integration of the battlefield surveillance system, ACCCS Shakti, as well as CIDSS. The secure Samba mobile phone has proven highly effective, including during Op Sindoor, and Phase 2 will enhance features is already underway. Now, continuing our drive towards a technology-enabled army, 2026 and 27 have been declared as the years of networking and data centricity. I say again, years of networking and data centricity. We understand that is in this age of acceleration, only one focus may not be adequate for the year. So all my PSOs will concurrently focus on one activity related to their domain of expertise. For example, year of habitat and military nutrition, year of innovation, touching lives, and of course, modern infra introduction. Moving ahead to the third pillar, that is system, process, and functions. We continue to refine organizational mechanisms to adopt best practices, improve efficiency, enhance outcomes, and gradually reorient manpower. Our war-fighting doctrines are being updated to fine-tune multi-domain operations. Basically, the ability to fully succeed in all four quadrants. As you understand, all four quadrants of warfare include from non-contact, non-kinetic to contact kinetic. We have refined our tactics, techniques, and procedures across all domains to operate effectively in the broadened battle space, which includes air littorals, cyber, cognitive, EM spectrum, and space. As highlighted last year, we initiated the study on delayering of headquarters to achieve faster decision making. This study is nearly finalized, and near simultaneously, its implementation is also commenced. Last 2 year efforts on technology absorption has proved way for accelerated automation, thus introducing automated delegated decision making and facilitate the skip echelon mechanism. Under the Honorable Raksha Mantri's year of reforms, the DPM has already been revised and the DAP and PDS are advanced stage of revision. As for the fourth pillar is concerned, that is human resource, it remains the Indian Army's greatest strength, and our vision is of human amplification where technology enhances the soldier. Mind you, I keep saying that we must ride on the technology and not allow the otherwise. The welfare and empowerment of our personnel, veterans, Veer Naris and their families remain central to our ethos. Regarding women officers and women soldiers, feedback on performance has been quite encouraging. We are expanding progressively, and as I had mentioned last year, we are now test bedding limited entries into the Territorial Army Home and Hearth with 36 vacancies. We have also opened up medical non-tech as well as Army Education Corps for the same. As announced last year, all women skydiving display team at Bathinda was created, and now it has 12 members and they have completed approximately 520 jumps. To strengthen fiscal standards as a team all across the ranks and ensure fit mission-ready units, CPT 26 has been promulgated as a common physical proficiency benchmark from soldier up to the Chief of Army Staff. For the welfare of our veterans, Project Naman was launched in August 2024 with 14 centers. It's a single window for all requirements which a veteran may have. It has, from 50, it has expanded to 100, and the 100th one will be inaugurated while at Jaipur by the Raksha Mantri ji during the occasion of the Army Day Parade. It's a great example of whole of nation approach, partnership with Sparsh, Maiti, and private banks, HDFC Bank, Axis Bank. I would also like to thank the 9 banks who have supported our initiative of providing rupees 1 crore accident insurance to our soldiers and veterans, of course, with various preconditions. As regards veterans, all army commanders have personally reached out to all the governors and the chief ministers of various states for the convergence on veterans' welfare and their role in nation building. Veteran Achiever Awards has got a traction where we are already going to achieve 150 at the time of Army Day Parade. As for the jointness integration is concerned, the fifth pillar, Operation Sindhu was a powerful demonstration of coordinated joint service planning and execution. The mandate for jointness and integration has been clearly defined at the highest level. As you are aware, we are progressing towards integrated structures in form of theatre commands. This is a deliberate, consultative and well-synchronized process to which the Indian Army is fully committed from day one. Now to expand the arc of jointness, multi-domain synchronization, accordingly the Army has expanded its arc of jointness to deepen cooperation with CAPFs and multiple ministries. Communication support has been extended to forward CAPF units, about 40 BSF and ITBP units, integrated into the Army's Network for Spectrum, that is NFS. We're examining common chains for ammunition, health, services, and supply systems. As for effective multi-domain operations execution, deeper civil-military industry collaboration will be essential. We have conducted convergence capsule at 28 locations along the border states, especially 8 border states where over 700 attendees from the civil side have been there. Even the Higher Command course, which is a classified course, has been opened up for 2 weeks this year for 40 participants from the policy, academia, as well as the industry. Now, in capability building development, the academia industry military troika remains central. The Army has shed traditional inhibitions and continues to reach out, sharing concepts, sending officers on deputation, and opening ranges and testing facilities to the industry. We do encourage veterans to act as a bridge between services and industry, as well as academia. We are supporting the funding startups and have started the Army internship program across 8 verticals. We are happy to note that over 50,000 applications were received for 50 vacancies for the period of Jan to June 2026. And aligned with India's foreign policy vision of Vishwabandhu and Vishwamitra, the Indian Army has firmly established itself as a proactive instrument of military diplomacy. We remain a leading contributor to UN peacekeeping with over 4,000 personnel, including more than 100 women peacekeepers deployed across 9 out of 13 missions. Our recent engagements include 3 high-impact president-setting events. The first ever conference on women peacekeepers, Women in Peacekeeping, a Global South Perspective. This was a conclave of Global South held in Feb 2025. The United Nations Women Military Officers Course and Military Medicon with 42 officers from 15 countries in August. And the first ever United Nations Troop Contributing Countries Chiefs Conclave, which brought together senior military leadership from 32 troop contributing nations.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
In a big development, US President Donald Trump has warned that any country continuing commercial engagement with Iran will face direct economic consequences from Washington. Trump said that nations doing business with the Islamic Republic of Iran would be hit with a 25% tariff on all trade with the United States, effective immediately. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has warned that the United States to stop what he called deceitful actions and its reliance on traitorous allies. And that's the latest that we're getting for you right now. For more on this, we have Zakir Jacob live with us. Thank you so much. Good morning. Now, of course, given all these latest developments, we've seen how Trump has repeatedly weaponized tariffs. When it comes to Iran, how do you assess this?
Well, clearly, he's been presented with a range of options, including military options possibly. And you heard Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, yesterday saying that airstrikes are one of the many, many options that Trump has. So he's now chosen to go with the economic option. This might not hurt Iran so much because Iran is already sort of completely buried under with the impact of the sanctions, the American sanctions, the European sanctions, and of course the United Nations has imposed sanctions on Iran for its nuclear weapons program. So this might not impact Iran as much as it would impact some of the other countries, India being one of them, Turkey, China, of course, which is the largest importer of Iranian oil, some Middle Eastern countries, which also import from Iran. So some of these countries could be affected. As far as India is concerned, this would be particularly pinching because remember, India is already facing the brunt of 50% tariffs, 25% for importing Russian oil, and now this additional 25%, if it's imposed, then that would take it up to 75%. But then, having said that, India does not import as much Iranian oil. In fact, it's very negligible, the amount of Iranian oil that India imports, particularly in the last few years after the American and European sanctions. But India has deep stakes in Iran. Remember, the Chabahar port is an India-backed port. There's also the North-South Transit Corridor project that India has been working on because Pakistan does not give it overland rights. As a result, for India to reach to the Central Asian republics like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, etc., India has to use the Iranian route, and that was part of the International North-South Transit Corridor project, which has been pending for a number of years now. So India has a lot of stake in what is going on in Iran, including, of course, these latest protests. India is watching very closely. The MEA put out a statement a couple of days ago saying that they're watching very carefully the developments in Iran. But once again, I think Trump, instead of choosing the military option, at least up until now, until this hour, instead of choosing the military option, he has decided to go with the economic option. One possible reason also being the fear that if he were to indulge in airstrikes like we saw back in June, when three of the major nuclear sites of Iran were hit, this could potentially this time around galvanize the regime, the Ayatollah regime. The people could sort of galvanize around that regime because an external actor like the United States has attacked it. So that's one of the factors that's stopping him from undertaking a military or authorizing a military strike against Iran as of now.
All right, Zaka, thank you so much for joining us with your insights on this. We'll, of course, continue to.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
In a big development, US President Donald Trump has warned that any country continuing commercial engagement with Iran will face direct economic consequences from Washington. Trump said that nations doing business with the Islamic Republic of Iran would be hit with a 25% tariff on all trade with the United States, effective immediately. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has warned that the United States to stop what he called deceitful actions and its reliance on traitorous allies. And that's the latest that we're getting for you right now. For more on this, we have Zaka Jacob live with us. Thank you so much. Good morning. Now, of course, given all these latest developments, we've seen how Trump has repeatedly weaponized tariffs. When it comes to Iran, how do you assess this?
Well, clearly, he's been presented with a range of options, including military options possibly. And you heard Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, yesterday saying that airstrikes are one of the many, many options that Trump has. So he's now chosen to go with the economic option. This might not hurt Iran so much because Iran is already sort of completely buried under with the impact of the sanctions, the American sanctions, the European sanctions, and of course the United Nations has imposed sanctions on Iran for its nuclear weapons program. So this might not impact Iran as much as it would impact some of the other countries, India being one of them, Turkey, China, of course, which is the largest importer of Iranian oil, some Middle Eastern countries, which also import.
Welcome back to CNN News 18. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, here's the latest that we're bringing for you right now. IPAC raids aftermath that we've been tracking. CNN News 18 is the only channel with the ED's plea before the Supreme Court. The ED has told the top court that Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and the DGP barged in and interrupted the search and investigation. ED has told the top court that TMC supporters attempted to hijack the High Court proceedings and have told the top court that organized ruckus was done via WhatsApp groups by TMC supporters ahead of the hearing. So this is the latest that we're getting on the IPAC raids, which caused much furor, and we saw that rally by the TMC there as well. Remember, there were IPAC raid. There was an ED raid which was conducted on IPAC offices in Kolkata, something that prompted Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to barge in and take away all the files. We know the TMC MPs have alleged that they were really just trying to get their party strategy ahead of the elections and get all the lists of candidates and other confidential information. And this is the latest that we have got for you from the ED's plea before the Supreme Court. For more on this, we have Ananya Bhatnagar live with us. Ananya, take us through the key elements of this report.
Well, absolutely. Two petitions that have been filed before, in fact, the Supreme Court. One by the Enforcement Directorate, by its organizational name, that is the Enforcement Directorate, and the second by 3 ED officials who have alleged wrongful restraint by the Chief Minister and the DGP or the top officials of the West Bengal Police. Not only that, what is very, very crucial to note at this particular juncture is that the Enforcement Directorate in its petition has clearly alleged that not only the raids were something that was sabotaged by the West Bengal Chief Minister and the DGP of West Bengal themselves, but also the hearing before the Calcutta High Court were disrupted by the TMC supporters by creating a false environment of, pressure, and that is exactly why, the Calcutta High Court had to adjourn the hearing in that particular matter, which is slated to take place tomorrow. However, these two petitions are still in the defect list of cases and can only be listed after those defects are cleared. and urgent mentioning is made before the Supreme Court of India. However, the same has not taken place yet. But very clearly, the ED's key allegation is that Mamata Banerjee herself and the top officials of the West Bengal police and the state of West Bengal are trying to sabotage the system itself. So very clearly, a big charge coming in from the Enforcement Directorate. How would the Supreme Court be reacting if at all it goes on to hear this particular matter is something that we'll have to wait and watch for.
Right now, Ananya, we've also seen the kind of politics that's broken out over this entire thing. There were, of course, questions from day one as to how Mamata Banerjee could just barge into an investigation and probe that was underway at the time. They, of course, alleged that these were all confidential party details ahead of the elections. This was all a ploy to get hands on those files as well. We saw that green file that she walked out with also. So how does this pan out going forward?
Well, definitely there would be a lot of fireworks. One thing is for sure that there would be a lot of drama, whether it's in the Supreme Court or in the Calcutta High Court. There would be a lot of drama that would be taking place as far as things are concerned. A lot of fireworks of arguments to come out as and when these petitions are actually heard, whether it's the Calcutta High Court or the Supreme Court. And very clearly, the biggest charge that Enforcement Directorate has been pushing in is that it was a lawful search. It was under the provisions of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act of the PMLA, and that is something that has been barged in by the Chief Minister herself, and that is exactly why there is a complete breakdown of law and order situation in the state of West Bengal is what the Enforcement Directorate has alleged. However, on the contrary, the TMC has also filed a petition before the Calcutta High Court wherein they go on to say that it is the Enforcement Directorate that is overreaching its limit and is trying to conduct and to seize away documents pertaining to the West Bengal elections, and that is something that is not connected to any scheduled offence is what the charge of the TMC is. Which way would the court swing is something that we'll have to wait and watch for.
Absolutely, Ananya. Thank you so much for bringing us all the latest updates on this as well. We'll, of course, continue to track all the latest developments on this with Ananya there. Now, let's shift our focus as to what's happening on the other fronts. A major political row has erupted in Tamil Nadu over the upcoming film. We're talking about Parashakti, with the Congress demanding a ban alleging distortion of history and misrepresentation of its leaders. Now, the Tamil Nadu Youth Congress has also accused the DMK-backed film of fabricating events from 1965, falsely portraying former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and making defamatory claims against Congress leaders. They've called it a deliberate attempt to malign the party ahead of elections. The controversy has exposed fault lines within the ruling alliance amid an ongoing power-sharing turf war. Hitting back, BJP leader K. Annamalai said that the film exposes Congress's betrayal of Tamils and warned that allies of the Congress, including the DMK, would pay a political price. The BJP has accused the Congress of intolerance and it's demanded accountability instead of censorship. So that's the latest that we're getting for you on that front. Let's listen to the various reactions that have come to this also.
You have condemned the movie Parashakti. You've seen the movie. Tell us more about, what you really do not like about the movie. Take us through, your views.
See, first of all, the Parashakti movie is entirely a deliberate distortion of historical facts. So, this movie is not about like anti-India agitation, protest and all. This movie is just to distort history and create a fake narrative against Congress party. See, there are certain scenes in the movie which have never happened in the history. So, they have mentioned that in 1965, Congress government have announced that in post office across India, only if Hindi must be used to fill forms. There was not even an official announcement or gazette order made by Congress government. This is a complete fabrication deliberately created to malign our party.
So,
And
go ahead.
And the movie team is completely unaware that law does not permit imaginary portrayal of deceased national leaders in events that never occurred in history. They recklessly created scenes that have no historical basis. So, we are the youth wing of Indian National Congress. So, we are like condemning this movie since this movie have portrayed our Iron Lady Indira Gandhi in a bad view.
Do you plan to stage protests against this? I mean, what is your next course of action?
Yes. So, the thing is that we are demanding Parashakti movie team to remove the scenes which have never occurred in history, the movie. And we are demanding the production team to issue a public apology to the party.
Okay.
If these are not happening from the movie team, strict legal action will be initiated against the filmmakers.
The Youth Congress functionary has issued a statement. They said that the makers of Parashakti should remove certain scenes that depicts Indira Gandhi in bad light. How does the DMK view this?
See, that was a fight. At that time, there was no BJP, BJS. It was Bharatiya Janata Sangh. But they were not active. They don't have didn't have a big role in the Indian politics. Congress was in power both in the state and the center. When the DMK people agitated, the government attacked them. The BJP has given certificate to Parashakti because it attacks Congress, but not given certificate to Jananayagan because it attacks BJP. After 15 years of the constitution coming into force, it was released in 1950. After 15 years, Hindi will be made an official language and all India language. That was why the agitation was started in 1965.
All right, for more on this, we have Mugilan live with us. Thank you so much for joining me. What can you tell us? Of course, we've seen the politics that's broken out over this.
Now we are seeing there have been voices rise from inside Tamil Nadu Congress against the movie Parashakti. Now we are seeing the Tamil Nadu Youth Congress state senior vice president has written a letter and he has pointed out 4 reasons for banning Parashakti in Tamil. He has also requested that the movie should be banned in Tamil Nadu. He has stated that the movie shows Congress in bad light. But yesterday, when Tamil Nadu Congress state president Silver Pernagai, when asked about the same question, he has stated that past is past. There is no point in speaking about it. So when the High Command chooses to keep quiet, now we are seeing there are several voices that is coming in from the state Congress against the movie Parashakti, and they have stated that the movie continues to show Congress in bad light. But it is very important to note that the CBS, the censor board, have cleared the movie, and only at the last minute we have seen the certificate that is being issued to Parashakti movie.
All right. Now, of course, going forward, how do we see this panning out? That's something that remains to be seen as well. There are various allegations of them falsely misrepresenting the facts in history and distorting what truly happened. What are some of the big issues of contention that remain at this point, and what's their ask?
In this particular letter, we have seen this state senior vice president has stated that Congress has never, that is what's shown in the movie is that the Congress issuing an order that all the forms should be filled in Hindi, but he has given a clarification stating that there was no such order that was given during the Congress regime in 1960s, and he has also stated that the vilification of Indira Gandhi is the reason what he has stated in the letter. So he has stated, as I said earlier, he has stated 4 such points, and he has stated that this movie wrongly shows the history and that is the reason that it should be banned. But we have seen even today, as we speak, the movie's success meet is being conducted in Chennai.
All right, stay on with us. Of course, we'll listen to some of the other reactions that have come in for this also.
காங்கிரஸ் கட்சி எப்படி மக்கள் 2008-2009 இலங்கையில் இனப்படுகொலைக்கு பிறகு மேலேயே வராமல் துரத்துனாங்களோ, காங்கிரஸோடு யாரெல்லாம் கூட்டணி வைக்கின்றார்களோ 2026 சட்டமன்ற தேர்தலில் பராசக்தி படம் திமுகவினுடைய முரசொலியாக அவர்களை அதே வீழ்த்தும். அதனால தான் பேர் தீ பரவட்டம்னு அவங்களே வச்சுக்கிட்டாங்க. தீ வச்சிங்கன்னா முதல்ல வீட்டை தானே பிடிக்கும். வீட்டுக்குள்ளே தீ வச்சா முதல்ல சொந்த வீட்டை பிடிக்கும், கூரையை பிடிக்கும், அந்த வீட்டுக்காரங்களை சுடும். அதனால் இந்த பராசக்தி படம் முதல்ல திமுக என்கின்ற வீட்டை சுடட்டும்.
All right, Mugilan, let me just come back to you on that also. Now, of course, we're discussing what are going to be the larger implications of this. They say that the timing of this is suspect as well, given this that the release of this comes ahead of the elections. All right, so this is where things stand right now. The release of the movie Parashakti, which has drawn widespread condemnation. This is with regards to certain scenes and certain representation and characterization of facts in history that the Tamil Nadu Youth Congress has accused the DMK-backed film of fabricating events from 1965, falsely portraying former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and making defamatory claims against Congress leader. So that's a major political row which has erupted in Tamil Nadu over the upcoming film Parashakti, with the Congress demanding a ban, alleging distortion of history and misrepresentation of its leaders. In more information that we are getting right now, the Tamil Nadu Congress Committee has calls Rahul Thalaiva. Now that's the latest that we are getting right now. So in breaking news that we're just getting, Tamil Nadu Congress Committee has called Rahul Thalaiva. This is, of course, in light of the furor over the release of Parashakti as well. And this is the latest that we are getting right now from Tamil Nadu Congress Committee calling Rahul Thalaiva. So these visuals that you can see right there, and that's the statement that has come out on this also. This, of course, as we were just discussing, the upcoming movie Parashakti as well, which the Tamil Nadu Youth Congress has accused the DMK-backed film of fabricating the events from 1965 and claims that it's making defamatory claims against Congress leaders. We're now seeing this new development that's come in from Tamil Nadu, also calling the Tamil Nadu Congress Committee calling Rahul Thalaiva. So there a significant development on that front. Also, you can see the statement on your screens right now. They've called it, if you were to talk about the contentious release of Parashakti as well, the Congress is demanding a ban there. They've alleged distortion of history and misrepresentation of its leaders. The Tamil Nadu Youth Congress has accused DMK-backed film of fabricating events from 1965, falsely portraying Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and making defamatory claims against Congress leaders. They have called this a deliberate attempt to malign the party ahead of elections, calling the entire release and the timing of this rather suspect as well. The controversy has exposed deeper fault lines within the ruling alliance amid an ongoing power-sharing turf war that we've also seen. And amid this Parashakti politics in Tamil Nadu, this is the latest Tamil Nadu Congress Committee calling Rahul Thalaiva. For more on this, we have Pallavi with us. Pallavi, how do you see this development in light of all that's happening?
So Rahul Gandhi is going to be in Tamil Nadu today. In fact, he's going to be attending the Golden Jubilee celebrations at the St. Thomas English High School. And this is going to be his first visit to Tamil Nadu in the backdrop of the kind of war of words we're seeing between the DMK and the Congress party, the seat-sharing talks. But more importantly, the Congress also trying to woo TVK chief Vijay as well, which hasn't gone down very well with the DMK. Now, as far as Tamil Nadu politics are concerned, obviously the big brother is the DMK in that alliance. The Congress has ridden Bicky Bank on the DMK, whether it's in the assembly elections, whether it's in the Lok Sabha elections. And at this point of time, projecting Rahul Gandhi, and this has come out officially from the Tamil Nadu Congress handle, projecting Rahul Gandhi as a Thalaiva, which is a respectable word which is used for someone who's a veteran, who's senior, who's seasoned. I'm not so sure the DMK is going to like this very much, because the DMK has also made a statement recently that they are not thinking in terms of a coalition government. Whenever the seat sharing talks gather steam and where the top leaders of the Congress will take part in it, which could be Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, the DMK would not want to give as many seats to the Congress as they would want. And I think at this point of time, the DMK is also extremely unhappy with many in the Congress party like Praveen Chakravarti and for talking about allying with the TVK, or even Rahul Gandhi making that phone call to TVK. Projecting Rahul Gandhi as a Thalaiva is of course going to just add on to this sense of disarray in that big alliance between the DMK and the Congress party. That why are you trying to project Rahul Gandhi officially as someone who is someone seasoned and a big player in Tamil Nadu politics when this is not the reality? But if we listen to the Congress's argument, their argument is that we are reaching out to our own cadre. We need to project Rahul Gandhi as the seasoned leader of Tamil Nadu Congress as well.
All right, stay on with us. Of course, we're getting more information right now as well. Shocking remarks by DMK MP Dhananidhi Dharan saying that in North Indian states, these are the comments that we're getting for you right now. In North Indian states, they ask girl children not to go to a job. I'm quoting here. ask them to stay inside their house and do housework, but we in South India want our girl child to study. So there a shocking remark by the DMK MP. Dayanidhi Naran saying that in North Indian states they ask girl children not to go to a job, ask them to stay inside their house and do housework, but we in South India want our children to study. So of course there have been sharp reactions to that as well, and there have been multiple reactions as to what prompted him to make these loose remarks. And Dayanidhi Maran says that in North Indian states, they ask girl children not to go to a job and ask them to stay at home and do housework. However, in South India, the perspective on that is different, and we want our girl children to go out and study. So that's a shocking remark that has come out as well by the DMK MP. This is the latest that we are getting for you right now. However, we are of course waiting for more information as to where these remarks were made and what really was the context in which he felt the need to make such shocking remarks. So these are the shocking remarks by the DMK MP, saying that in North Indian states they ask girl children not to go out and do jobs and ask them to stay at home. We will continue to bring you more developments on that front as and when we have more information on this. Let's shift our focus for now. Now, ISRO has suffered a major setback after its polar satellite launch vehicle, the PSLV C-62, encountered a critical anomaly during the rocket's third stage, leaving the status of all 16 satellites on board uncertain. The launch began smoothly through its first and second stages, and the third stage ignited as planned. However, shortly after, officials detected then an unexpected issue about 30 minutes after liftoff. ISRO confirmed that the mission had encountered an anomaly during the end of the third stage burn and that a detailed analysis was underway. Listen to this.
After high expectations, India breathed a sigh of relief looking at the smooth liftoff of the PSLV on Monday morning. But just as the celebration was about to begin, it soon turned into a disappointment. The rocket lifted off beautifully from the first launch pad of Sriharikota around 10:18 a.m. The first two stages of the rocket performed as expected. Everything was going well as the rocket rode into space. The second stage separated and the ignition of the third stage began. The ignition was to last for 125 seconds as scientists watched with bated breath. It was precisely at this moment when the PSLV had malfunctioned during its last flight in May 2025. The third stage performance was normal and the rocket geared to enter the coasting stage. It is when the thrusters are shut off and the rocket continues moving forward without any force. It was 370 kilometers up into the space, gliding at a velocity of about 5 kilometers per second. It is at this precise moment, 6 minutes into the flight, that ISRO knew that something was amiss. They waited. The mission could not be accomplished. And ISRO chairman Dr. V. Narayanan confirmed that the rocket had indeed deviated from its path. He said, and I quote, "The PSLV is a 4-stage vehicle with 2 solid stages and 2 liquid stages. The performance of the vehicle close to the end of the third stage was as expected. But then we saw some disturbance in the vehicle and subsequently some deviation in its flight path." He said that we are analyzing the data and we shall come back at the earliest. Well, PSLV is ISRO's workhorse, its most dependable rocket, one that the space agency has relied on for conducting over 60 space flights. Today's attempt was its 64th flight. This is the same rocket which has successfully realized some of India's biggest space dreams so far: Chandrayaan-1, Mars Orbiter mission, Aditya L1 and the AstroSat mission. In the year 2017, it also set the world record by launching 104 satellites in a single mission. So what really went wrong? Now, if you remember, last year in May, the PSLV had encountered a similar issue during its third stage. This stage is fueled by solid propellants. The rocket was carrying an important Earth observation satellite that time, RISAT-1B, at a very sensitive time. But the mission could not be accomplished and the rocket fell back into the ocean. The Failure Analysis Committee, FAC, was formed to investigate the cause and rectify it. The ISRO chairman earlier confirmed that the report has been submitted to the PMO. but the space agency did not issue any statement or reveal the cause of the malfunction. So while that was on, it decided to bring the PSLV back to the launch pad at the start of 2026, confident of its success. Alas, it faced a second setback within the course of a year. Remember, each mission cost a few hundred crore, with money spent on building the entire rocket and the satellites and the time invested into the process. PSLV may even cost about 200 crore. This was also 2026 first launch for ISRO, a year incredibly important for the space agency as it prepares for missions like Gaganyaan. And most importantly, this mission also carried an important Earth observation satellite developed by the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO. It would have strengthened our remote sensing capabilities. To add to it, there were 15 other co-passenger satellites, a commercial collaboration through New Space India Limited. This included Theos 2, built jointly by the UK and Thailand, a re-entry capsule by a Spanish startup, and payloads by a startup based in Brazil, and technological demonstration satellite developed by our local startups, Dhruva Space and Take Me to Space. So what next? The Department of Space will again set up a failure analysis committee to investigate what really went wrong. Was it the same issue as last year? And if yes, why it could not have been rectified? And if it was, then what really went wrong? It's definitely a really challenging time for the Indian Space Research Organization, considering millions are spent on each launch and building a satellite and the rocket.
All right, and here's a quick look at all the other stories which are making headlines today. Now, fresh protests erupted in Karnataka as farmers gathered outside the district administration office. They are demanding immediate action and concrete solutions to long pending issues related to minimum support price. Posters targeting Delhi leader of opposition Atishi have surfaced near Firoz Shah Road in the national capital. The posters have triggered political buzz, with reactions awaited from the Aam Aadmi Party and the Delhi police. Afghanistan's Charge d'Affaires Mufti Noor Ahmad Noor met MEA Joint Secretary Anand Prakash in New Delhi. The talks focused on political and economic ties, trade expansion, visa facilitation and concerns of Afghan traders, students and nationals living in India. A techie arrested in Bengaluru after his wife accused him of cheating, assault and caste-based abuse. Police say he was detained at his alleged partner's residence, with cases registered under assault and atrocity laws as investigation continues. Railway police have arrested 2 men for drugging a passenger with laced tea and stealing his valuables during a train journey. The accused were caught while attempting a similar crime, as police warned travellers not to accept food or drinks from strangers. A 25-year-old woman, Sarbanu Khatun from West Bengal, was arrested in Bengaluru after a video showed her allegedly shouting Jai Bangla during a police operation. The incident occurred near sheds where 2 alleged illegal Bangladeshi migrants were taken into custody, and further investigation is underway. A delivery rider, Rishabh Kumar, was allegedly beaten and forced to squat inside a Zepto store in New Ashoknagar, East Delhi, after reportedly spraying perfume on himself. Police have registered a case, are reviewing CCTV footage, and the rider is undergoing medical examination as the investigation continues. Police have arrested a man known as Bullet in connection with the suicide of BLO Hakimul Islam following a complaint by the victim's wife. She alleged that Hakimul was under pressure from Bullet over a loan and other local disputes, which contributed to more stress. An Air India flight to Kochi was cancelled at Delhi airport due to a technical issue, leaving passengers frustrated. Reports say the crew has yet to provide a solution, escalating tensions among travellers at the terminal. In Bhilwara, Shastri Nagar, a trader returning home on his Activa was robbed of 4 lakh rupees by 5 men on 2 vehicles. The daring robbery was caught on CCTV, and police have launched a manhunt to track down the culprits. Now, the 2026 Golden Globe Awards delivered an evening full of interesting highlights. Nikki Glaser opened the night with sharp humor, even poking fun at Leonardo DiCaprio's controversial dating history. Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas had their sweet red carpet moment, while Jennifer Lawrence stunned everyone in a Givenchy look. Hailey Steinfeld made headlines with her red carpet baby bump debut, and Wicked for Good director John M. Chu added whimsy by wearing custom tribute pins for Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. Take a look.
Whoa, what a night! The 83rd Golden Globe Awards turned out to be amazing, with the whole world talking about it. Hosted by comedian Nikki Glaser, the ceremony featured surprise wins, viral red carpet moments, and serious glamour. But some moments truly stole the spotlight. Starting with a laugh, Nikki Glaser did not hold back when taking aim at Leonardo DiCaprio during her 2026 Golden Globes monologue. The comedian, hosting the show for the second year in a row, playfully referenced the one battle after another star's dating history in her opening remarks at the Beverly Hilton in Los Angeles on Sunday, drawing laughter from the star-studded audience. Glaser then added, "Leo, I'm sorry, I made that joke. It's cheap. I tried not to. But you know, we don't know anything else about you, man. There's nothing else. Open up." Another most talked about red carpet moment came courtesy of Priyanka Chopra Jonas and her husband Nick Jonas. Arriving hand in hand, Priyanka dazzled in a navy Dior gown, while Nick looked sharp in a black tuxedo. But it was not just the fashion that stole hearts. In a candid and affectionate moment, Priyanka was seen adjusting Nick's bow tie, a sweet gesture that quickly went viral. Not far behind in the buzz was Jennifer Lawrence, whose red carpet look raised eyebrows. Stepping out in a bold sheer Givenchy gown embroidered with floral detail, Jennifer turned heads with one of the evening's most daring fashion statements. There was more. Hailey Steinfeld proudly flaunted her baby bump on the red carpet. Wearing a striking silhouette that celebrated this new chapter, Hailey glowed as she cradled her bump, bringing together style and personal joy in one powerful moment. Adding a touch of whimsy to the evening, Wicked for Good director John M. Chu made a charming statement by wearing custom beaded pins of Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. The playful accessories paid tribute to the two stars portraying the witches in the highly successful franchise, offering a heartfelt nod to both the film and its leading ladies. From tender romantic gestures to bold fashion choices, the Golden Globes 2026 delivered sparkle and unforgettable flair, setting the perfect tone for the award season. Which moment felt the most special to you?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Let's begin with a quick check of the top stories we're tracking at 1 p.m. Communist Party of China delegation meets BJP leaders at party headquarters, first such engagement since the 2020 Galwan clash. Amidst ongoing rift between DMK and Congress in the state, now Congress demands ban on Parasakti movie over alleged distortion of history. Questioned over 7 hours in Karur stampede case, Vijay blames Tamil Nadu cops, denies party responsibility. DMK questions his late arrival at the venue. Big development in KGMU conversion scandal probe. Investigation agency source doesn't rule out a PFI link. Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy moots auto debit of vehicle owners' bank accounts for traffic fines. Proposal sparks a big debate. Yash is toxic, lands in trouble. Karnataka Women's Commission seeks censor board action over obscene scenes, says it degrades women's dignity. Man brags about SUV's benefits while driving on wrong side of the road. Video sparks massive outrage. India launches logo for BRICS Summit 2026, outlines vision for cooperation in areas of economic growth, technology and global South partnerships. Another Hindu beaten to death in Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina, in an exclusive interview with CNN News 18, says extremists enjoying impunity under Yunus regime. After his envoy strikes reconciliatory tone with India, now Trump threatens 25% tariffs on countries doing business with Iran. India to feel the shock. A 6-member delegation from China's Communist Party, led by Vice Minister Sun Haiyan, met BJP leaders at the party's Delhi headquarters on Monday, marking the first party-to-party talks since ties began thawing after the 2020 Galwan clash. Now, BJP officials, including Arun Singh and Chinese ambassador Xu Fihong, were part of the discussions on enhancing inter-party communication. This comes as China rejected India's claim to Shaksam Valley, while the MEA reaffirmed the territory as Indian and rejected the China-Pakistan boundary agreement of 1963.
Shaksgam Valley is Indian territory. We have never recognized the so-called China-Pakistan boundary agreement that happened in 1963. We have consistently maintained that the agreement is illegal and invalid. We do not recognize the so-called China-Pakistan economic corridor either, which passes through Indian territory that is under forcible and illegal occupation of Pakistan.
首先，你提到的领土属于中国领土。中方在自己的领土上开展基础设施建设无可非议。中国和巴基斯坦已于上个世纪的60年代签署了边界协定，并且划定了两国的边界，这是中巴作为主权国家的权利。那么你提到中巴经济走廊，这是一个经济合作倡议，旨在促进当地的经济社会发展和改善民生。中巴边界协定和中巴经济走廊不影响中方在克什米尔问题上的立场，中方在这个问题上的立场没有变化。
We're learning of the RSS-CCP meeting that has taken place today as well. It lasted for about 30 minutes. Sources say the meeting was at the insistence of the CCP and Dattarey Hosabale was present from the Sangh side. My colleague Anandya Banerjee is tracking more of this from Keshav Kunj. Anandya, what really is the story behind these meetings? You know, the meeting that the CCP has held with the BJP, they say it's part of their larger Know the BJP campaign and various political parties from across the world have been invited. CCP happens to be one of them. But the CCP has now also met the RSS.
Well, absolutely. I am right now at the Keshav Kunj. Behind me is the massive Keshav Kunj new building. But it's important to state the sources within the RSS are insisting that this meeting did not happen on at RSS's insistence. Rather, on the other way around, it happened on the insistence of the CCP. They sought a time from the RSS and requested a courtesy visit, and that's how the meeting happened. Having said that, the meeting started just around 11 a.m. and they lasted for 30 minutes. There are 3 blocks of the building. The second block is called Preparedness, and in the second block, that meeting happened. In this meeting, the same delegation led by Ms. Sun Haiyan, that same delegation was there. And on the Assam side, as you rightly mentioned, the Dattarey Hosabale was present. And after that meeting, pleasantries were exchanged and the meeting ended on a cordial note. And following which we are now learning there is also they proceeded to meet other political their meetings with other political outfits as well. But there was indeed meeting with the RSS at 11 a.m. here at Keshav Kunj in Jhandewala.
So, Anandya, what more are you learning as far as this entire campaign is concerned? What is this Know the BJP campaign? How many political parties from which all countries, various countries have met the BJP? Is the CCP engagement to be seen as part of that? Or is it to be seen as part of the larger thawing of relationship with China overall?
Well, indeed, there is a thawing of relationship. Galwan happened in 2020 and it's 2026 January. So, they spent almost 5.5 years now. So this has been a thawing of relationship, and that's why we're seeing a movement of relationship. But rightly coming back to your question, which is a very interesting question, I find there has been BJP's insisting sources within the BJP that this is not, we need to see in the largest perspective. CCP comes much later. There has been a series of plethora of meetings happening from across the world. Those meetings are happening from Australia, from Eurasia, from African region, from Middle East. BJP under the Know the BJP campaign, and BJP has been engaging with various political parties under that Know the BJP program. So they have given sources within the BJP have been sharing that list, and so very clearly BJP is saying that CCP, after almost 2.5 to 3 years after starting that campaign, CCP comes to their mind. So if clearly being seen as the importance, CCP comes way later to their mind, way after even a sub-Saharan party, say of maybe of Africa.
You also mentioned, if I'm right, Anandya, that the CCP could also do more engagements with other political outfits in India. So are we to see that this is not just an engagement with the ruling party, the BJP and the RSS? There could be more such engagements by the CCP while in India?
Well, there are unconfirmed reports right now that the same delegation has also met a very prominent opposition party and its prominent face, but we'll wait for the confirmation to come through before we announce it to our viewers.
All right. I just also want to mention, of course, that there are many disputes between India and China that have been reported widely, and these, continue to be a thorn as far as this relationship is concerned. So what are these major disputes? One, of course, is the long-standing claim that China keeps making that Arunachal Pradesh is part of South Tibet, and India has often and repeatedly rejected any such claims. China illegally occupies 38,000 square kilometers of Ladakh, which is Aksai Chin, another legacy issue as far as India is concerned, right from post-independence. Exact location of the LAC disputed by China at many places. That's exactly what led to the recent flare-ups on the LAC, including the Galwan clash as well. China is in control of that Shaksam Valley illegally that was ceded by Pakistan from Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. That, of course, we played out those reactions for you of how that has been kind of been a reminder of these illegal claims by China. And connected to that is, of course, that China-Pakistan economic corridor, which passes through POK, and that has been a problem in this relationship. Let's also outline for you what is this entire Shaksam Valley row between India and China. India, of course, has asserted that Shaksam is an Indian territory, while China claims that this is a Chinese territory, that they have rejected the Indian claim. India doesn't recognize that China-Pakistan 1963 deal. Mind you, this isn't a development of today or even of the 21st century. This is a post-independence issue that happened because of Pakistan occupying parts of Kashmir and then ceding those parts to China. China continues to brazen it out by saying that this belongs to China. India also does not recognize the CPEC. It passes via Indian territory, has always been the long-standing stand of the Indian government. But China, remember, is building infra on its own territory is what they are claiming. All of this is also happening in the aftermath of the Galwan clash and everything that transpired between India and China. There has been, of course, updates from the Indian side about how Indian infrastructure is being ramped up as far as that LAC is concerned. So the two countries still wanting to look forward. We've seen recent thawing of relationships, and though this meetings can be seen as part of that larger attempt, because there is flights that are now allowed, there are visa exemptions, etc. being granted, and more confidence building measures taking place between the two countries.
Well, absolutely. There has been a thawing of relationship very clearly, and there has been movements between the two. Both India and China are part of BRICS, and particularly with Donald Trump taking the turn that he is taking of late, there has been, there has been a commonality of shared interest of the two countries, and that's why probably we are seeing much more, shared interest, very interesting times to be in, and shared interest. We have seen, Chinese diplomats and Chinese senior officials of CCP reaching out to India through various means. So probably we also need to see this reach out of CCP through that context. Once again, we need to remind our viewers that this meeting between the CCP and RSS that took place took place at the insistence of CCP. They requested a meeting from the Sangh, and Sangh gave a time, and Dattatraya Hosbole from the Sangh's end met them for half an hour in Sangh's headquarters at Keshav Kunj in Jhandewala in Delhi, at the middle block. There's 3 blocks in the Sangh headquarters. Those who are not privy to how it looks, and the middle block is called Preparedness. In that block, they met for 30 minutes. They talked about how it's a courtesy meeting, we are given to understand, nothing beyond that, and after which they went ahead and met another prominent face of another prominent opposition leader. So very clearly there are a thawing of relationship, as you rightly mentioned, and probably in the days to come we will see more thawing of more such bilateral meetings in the days. But the optics of it hasn't gone down well with the opposition parties, particularly the Congress, and probably that's why you have seen the kind of attacks by certain elements of the Congress and BJP being at the receiving end.
All right. Stay with me, Anandya. We're also getting some breaking updates now coming in. This is a comment that has been made by on Shaksam Valley, comments that have been made by China. India has given a very strong response, saying that India considered the 1963 agreement between Pakistan and China illegal. Therefore, we do not accept any activity there. What I understand about the CPEC, we do not accept it, and we consider that it's an illegal action which is being carried out by the two countries. This is the army chief reacting to what has happened as far as this Shaksam Valley row is concerned. Army chief has been addressing the media. We've been bringing you excerpts of that, and he has now responded to the Shaksam Valley row as well. India considers 1963 agreement between Pakistan and China illegal. Therefore, we do not accept any activity there. What I understand about the CPEC, we do not accept it, and we consider it as an illegal action which is being carried out by the two nations. Siddhant, my colleague, is also joining us with more on this. Siddhant.
Well, that's right. In fact, the first response coming from the Indian Army Chief, and it has been made very clear once again by the Indian side, Indian military, that India considers 1963 agreement between Pakistan and China illegal. Therefore, India does not accept any activity there. He also says that what I understand about the CPEC is that we do not accept it, and we consider that it is illegal action which is being carried out by the two nations. In fact, the Minister of External Affairs also on Friday rejected China's attempts to alter ground reality in Shaksam Valley. In fact, India on Friday, at the level of Minister of External Affairs, rejected what it described as Chinese efforts to change the ground reality in the Shaksam Valley, and reiterated that it reserves the right to take necessary measures to safeguard its interests in the region.
We're going to play out this excerpt from the Army Chief's press conference as well. But remember, overall also he has talked about the LAC situation. He has talked about how there's been continued strategic orientation. Deployment along the line of action control remains balanced and robust. Capability development and infrastructure enhancement are progressing through a whole of government approach. This is all details that the Indian Army Chief has talked about earlier in his briefing, and he has now also commented directly about this row between India and China, even as CCP engagements in India are ongoing. This is, of course, a territorial dispute that has started since 1963. This is a post-independence issue after Pakistan's illegal capture of parts of Jammu and Kashmir and then ceding of that northern Jammu and Kashmir territory to China to build that CPEC and to build other infrastructure as well. A long-standing issue between the two countries. So even as engagements take place in India, big question remains of what happens to these legacy issues. Siddhant, the MEA also has been talking about, has already commented on this. Just give us a more, more perspective on what is likely to happen on this issue as far as the two countries engaging with each other is concerned, because they are clearly wanting to get onto the table regarding LAC issues, but also other territorial disputes that exist.
Well, that's right. In fact, China again staked its claim on the Sakshagam Valley amid India's assertion that the region falls under its territory in the backdrop of the announcement of the second phase of the China-Pakistan economic corridor, reiterating the validity of what India termed as the illegal and invalid land transfer. Beijing goes ahead with its usual narrative. In fact, Shivani, China and Pakistan in the 1960s signed a boundary agreement and delimited the boundary between the two countries, which is the right of China and Pakistan as sovereign countries. This is what Beijing has to say. Now, New Delhi has never recognized the so-called China-Pakistan boundary agreement signed in 1963, through which Islamabad ceded the territorial control of the strategically located valley to Beijing. Now, India also registered its protest against infrastructural construction in Sakshagam Valley as it stands as a violation of its territorial sovereignty. The reason that New Delhi never recognized, that is one of the reasons that New Delhi never recognized the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, or any of its flagship projects, the CPEC, passing through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. In fact, Chinese Foreign Ministry said this earlier, and I quote the spokesperson of the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Mao Ning, it's fully justified for China to conduct infrastructure construction on its own territory, unquote. Now, the pace of infrastructure development has accelerated since the 2017 Doklam standoff. It includes a recent all-weather road through Sakshagam Valley that runs close to the Siachen Glacier, challenging India's hold over the region. In fact, there are satellite imageries also shows that the road branches out from an extension of highway E219 in China's Xinjiang and ends around 50 kilometers from Indra Point, the northernmost point of Siachen. So this has become a new point of, not a new point of contention. Perhaps it has been going on from last so many decades. But the time these satellite images started emerging, this question was asked to the spokesperson of Minister of External Affairs on Friday. In fact, he made India's position very clear, rejected China's assertion over the territory and the infrastructure that China is building. In fact, now we have response from the Chinese Foreign Ministry, and now Akash is bringing to us this very latest from the Army Chief, where
yes.
Army once again reiterated India's position that India considers 1963 agreement between Pakistan and China illegal. Therefore, we do not accept any activity there. He also says, what I understand about the CPEC, we do not accept it, and we consider that it is an illegal action which is being carried out by the two nations. In fact, also, India is a part of SCO, and each time around, whenever there is a consensus which China tries to build around CPEC or Belt and Road Initiative, perhaps India withdraws its approval. So that has always been the standard position of the Indian side from the very beginning. And in fact, now since the satellite images are there, it's being reported. It is perhaps India issues a statement and the counter statement from China, and now the Indian Army has again reiterated India's standard position on Sakshagam Valley.
Siddhant, just stay with me. Moving on to the other big international update that we're tracking, and this will also have great relevance as far as India is concerned. US President Donald Trump announcing a sweeping new tariff policy, saying any country that trades or does business with Iran will now face a 25% tariff on all business with the United States, effective immediately. Trump posted this on social media that the decision is final and conclusive as part of efforts to ramp up pressure on Iran amidst widespread protests and unrest in the country. But Indian exporters may now face higher costs when accessing the US market, because India does have a long-standing relationship with Iran, and it's unlikely that India would cut those ties under US pressure. This will further complicate the already strained economic relations between India and US. Meanwhile, Trump's special envoy struck a more conciliatory tone in private talks, even as President Trump keeps on all options on the table, including possible military actions against Iran. Siddhant continues to be with us. Siddhant, more headache as far as these geopolitical relationships are concerned. US piling on pressure on anybody who deals with Iran, and India is certainly one of those countries.
Well, yes, that's right. In fact, now President Trump announces new tariffs for the countries trading with Iran. So, Shivani, the fact is that Iran is under heavy sanctions from the United States. And also the fact is that that many of the countries, including India, have not been trading with Iran properly, or rather in volumes. In fact, if you go by the numbers, which are very much present on the website of the Indian Embassy in Iran, in fact, the trade between India and Iran stands at about $1.68 billion, not more than that. Whereas this trade 6 years back was somewhere near $17 to $18 billion. So year by year, there has been a decline in trade between India and Iran because of sanctions, because of instability, etc., etc. Iran has been offering perhaps a lot of concessions, etc., to Indian private players to come and invest in Chabahar. But Chabahar project could also not take off, Shivani, for the fact that the country is under sanctions, despite U.S. Giving sanction exemption to Chabahar. In fact, once it was given when President was Joseph Biden. Then again, in October, if I'm not mistaken, last year, this sanction was again given by the U.S. government. But none of the Indian companies, private players, have ever shown shown interest in moving to Iran or investing in Iran. In fact, since 2018, there has not been any official purchase of crude also from Iran, given the sanctions. Now, since this new threat has come from President Trump, perhaps God knows which country he's talking about. Whether he's talking about China, because China is officially buying crude from Iran at a much cheaper rate. Iran is offering rate which is much lower than what Russia is offering, and the Chinese refiners are into purchasing this oil from Iran.
Okay.
So whether he's talking about China or perhaps some other country, we really don't know. But as far as India's trade is concerned, it's only $1.68 billion. Perhaps what tariff you'll put on a country which only has trade with Iran about $1.68 billion. So we need more clarification, Shivani, at this point in time.
Yeah, but whether the Trump administration will make that distinction of what the volume of our trade with Iran is remains to be seen. I'll leave it at that, Siddhant. Thanks a lot for joining us. Extremists continue to enjoy a free run under Yunus regime. Another Hindu man, an auto driver named Samir Das, was beaten to death in Bangladesh in latest attacks on the minorities. Amid rising anti-Hindu hate, Bangladesh former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, in an exclusive interview with CNN News 18, has expressed serious concern over the safety of minority communities. She said violence against Hindus has surged since August 2024, with extremists enjoying impunity under the Yunus government. Hasina also accused the interim government of scapegoating the Awami League over the killing of Hosman Hadi, linked the case to India without evidence, while repressing journalists reporting on the situation. My colleague Akansha Swaroop is also joining us with more on this. Akansha, bring us more of the excerpts of this exclusive interview with CNN News 18.
that we also talk about how, in fact, in all the interviews that Sheikh Hasina has given, she's not been so vocal about calling out to the US attention, and this is what she's directly done this time. She said that you can't be selectively condemning when democracy is being destroyed. We've seen how the US president has actively intervened as far as the protests in Iran are concerned. In fact, so much so, we all know that Maduro is currently being tried in the United States. So despite the interventions in Venezuela and in Iran, you still have a very strategic silence being maintained, and that is what Sheikh Hasina in this interview to CNN News 18 has in fact also called upon. She's also said that there has to be a sustained international engagement. Yunus for the longest time has been the United States darling, but the US perhaps is able to now see through this, because remember, the US has finally now designated an ambassador to Bangladesh. Ambassador Christensen should be taking over any time now, but he's still the US ambassador designate to Bangladesh. More importantly, Sheikh Hasina has condemned the violent killings of the minorities. That includes, say, Hindus, of course, Buddhists, even Ahmadiyas and Christians. 7 Hindus on record have died since December 4th. In fact, as we speak, only yesterday, Shivani Samir Das, a 28-year-old auto rickshaw driver, was brutally beaten to death. His auto rickshaw even stolen.